let's go to our topic for today, which is the primal vow of Amida Buddha. And as you know, in Amida G, we explain the primal vow in very much detail because we want to be sure that all our members understand the primal vow. Why? Because we are the school of the primal vow, and the primal vow is everything for us. You know, so each member, lay member, should, and especially the ordained, should know the meaning of all the sentences and words of the primal vow. That's very important. So please, Kosho, start your presentation.
Okay, thank you, Sensei. Yes, indeed, we are the school of the primal vow, so we should understand it very thoroughly, quite in detail. The explanations that Joshua Sensei has provided are in several books. In his commentary on the larger sutra, on the Buddha of infinite life, the sutra of the commentary on the Buddha of infinite life. He also has this explanation of the primal vow, because there the 48 vows of Amida Buddha are explained, but also in the book The Meaning of Faith and Nembutsu in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, you can find a very detailed explanation of approximately 100 pages of just the primal vow, explaining it sentence by sentence. And this can be found in page 7, from page 7 to page 100 or to page 97. Okay, so you can go to page 7 in the book The Meaning of Faith and Nembutsu in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism by Joshua Sensei. So go there, and there you will find an explanation of the primal vow. I will before I begin, I would like to do a little bit of an introduction of the things that we will talk about, because today's session will be all about the primal vow. Actually, I don't know if we will have enough time to finish today, but we are not in a hurry, because the primal vow is very important.
Kosho, please also read all the primal vow before you start explaining it.
Yes, Sensei, indeed. Let me go ahead and find the explanation here. So the primal vow of Amida Buddha says like this. So Amida Buddha said in his 18th vow, the primal vow, if, when I attain Buddhahood, sentient beings of the 10 quarters who sincerely entrust themselves to me desire to be born in my land and say my name perhaps even 10 times, should not be born there, may I not attain the supreme enlightenment. Excluded are those who commit the 5 grave offenses and those who slander the right dharma. That is the primal vow. Okay, so as you can see, Joshua Sensei divides the primal vow in four sections, but in these explanations is divided in 5 sections. So we will examine each section. So in the Meaning of Faith and Nembutsu in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, in this book, Joshua Sensei divides the primal vow in these parts. First, the meaning of if, when I attain Buddhahood, and may I not attain supreme enlightenment, because remember that each of the 48 vows of Amida Buddha always start with the sentence, if, when I attain Buddhahood, and they always end, may I not attain supreme enlightenment. Okay, what does that mean? Yes, that's the first section. The second part is the meaning of sentient beings of the 10 quarters. Yes, what does that mean? No. The third section is the meaning of the following part of the primal vow, which is sincerely entrust themselves to me, desire to be born in my land and say my name perhaps even 10 times. And the fourth section is the so-called exclusion. And we say it's so-called because, as we will see, there is no exclusion. There is only self-exclusion. Yes, Amida Buddha doesn't exclude anybody. Yes, the only people who exclude is those who slander the right Dharma. We will explain what slandering the Dharma means. So the exclusion in the primal vow, so-called exclusion, is Excluded are those who commit the 5 grave offenses and those who slander the right dharma. And after that, we have a 5th section in which Joshua Sensei provides a summary in very simple words of the primal vow. Okay, so those are the 5 sections that we will cover today if we have enough time. So let's jump right into it. Okay, shall we? This topic is very, very auspicious and important. So let's go ahead. I will read the primal vow one more time, just to refresh our memory. If, when I attain Buddhahood, sentient beings of the 10 quarters who sincerely entrust themselves to me, desire to be born in my land and say my name perhaps even 10 times, should not be born there, may I not attain supreme enlightenment. Excluded are those who commit the 5 grave offenses and those who slander the right dharma. Okay, so then the first section, as I told you, that we are going to explain is the meaning of if when I attain Buddhahood, may I not attain supreme enlightenment, which is actually how all the 48 vows start and how they end. Okay. So why does Amida Buddha say this? So let's go to page number 9 in the meaning of faith and Nembutsu, and there we will see that Bodhisattva Dharmakara, before he attained Buddhahood, promised that sentient beings will be born in his land if they fulfill basically 3 conditions. Yeah, 3 conditions in the primal vow. First is that they should entrust themselves to him. Second is to say his name. And third is to wish to be born there, to be born in Amida Buddha's Pure Land. Yes. If sentient beings do these 3 things, that is, entrust themselves to him, say his name, and wish to be born in his Pure Land, then they will be born there. But it's very important because when he says, if when I attain Buddhahood, may I not attain perfect enlightenment, that means that Amida Buddha is saying that he will not be called a Buddha if if beings do these 3 things, if they entrust themselves to him, say his name, and they wish to be born there, if they are not born in the Pure Land, that means that Amida Buddha is not a Buddha. Yeah, so that's very important because Amida Buddha is linking his Buddhahood to the fulfillment of his promise. Yes, so he's saying, I am a Buddha because I can do this. If I cannot do this, I'm not a Buddha. So this is how important this is, and this happens in all the 48 vows. Yes. But since the 18th vow is the most important one, then we are especially happy when the 18th vow is also fulfilled like the other ones. Amida Buddha is waging his own Buddhahood on this. It means that his own Buddhahood means the fulfillment of all his 48 vows, especially his primal vow, which is the most important vow of them all. Why? It's because this is the main entrance to his Pure Land. And as we will see, this means that when you go into the center of the Pure Land, you attain an Uttara Samjak Sambodhi, which is the objective of all Mahayana Buddhism, is to attain Buddhahood. Yes? What could be more important than this? And the other thing is that the primal vow covers all kinds of beings. Yes, cover all beings in the 10 quarters, as we will see. Okay? But we will go step by step, slowly. Yeah. So as Joshua Sensei points out here, Amida Buddha, or more technically, Dharmakara Bodhisattva, yes, when he was engaging in the fulfillment of these vows, he connected his attainment of perfect enlightenment or Buddhahood with fulfilling all his vows. Yes, so perfect enlightenment for Amida Buddha, or for Dharmakara Bodhisattva, yes, when he was working towards making his primal vow possible and all his 48 vows, is just a way to save all beings and nothing else. Yes, so he cannot help them reach his Pure Land if they entrust to him. Yes, say his name and wish to go to his Pure Land. So then it means that he's not a Buddha yet. Okay, what this means is that if he's not capable of doing this, as I said before, I want to stress this because it's very important, that means that he's not a Buddha. But if he's capable of doing it, yes, then he is a Buddha. Yes, and as Shakyamuni Buddha says in the larger sutra, when Ananda asked him, where is this Amida Buddha now? Has he already passed into parinirvana? Is he Is he a Buddha active now? Is he still a bodhisattva working toward his vows? But Shakyamuni Buddha answered, yes, in the 10th section of the larger sutra. No, Dharmakara Bodhisattva became Amida Buddha 10 kalpas ago. So he's now, Shakyamuni Buddha is saying, he's now preaching the Dharma in Sukhavati, in the land of bliss and happiness, of peace and bliss, to the west of our world system. So he's now preaching the Dharma there. So what that means is that Dharmakara Bodhisattva was indeed successful, and all his 48 vows have been fulfilled. This is what Shakyamuni Buddha says, yes? And actually all the Buddhas in the 10 directions are praising Amida Buddha right now, yes? Because he fulfilled all of his vows, and especially his primal vow. This is what Yosho Sensei quotes here. Yes, I will quote the larger sutra, only one section. So the Buddha, Shakyamuni, replied to Ananda when Ananda asked him, where is this Buddha now? Is he still a bodhisattva? Where is he? So Shakyamuni Buddha says, Bodhisattva Dharmakara has already attained Buddhahood and is now dwelling in a Western Buddha land called Peace and Bliss, 100,000 kotis of lands away from here. Yes. So he's saying that he exists and he is in that Buddha land. He's giving you an address and he's telling you that he's alive there preaching the Dharma. So Amida Buddha was successful indeed. Yeah. So the fact that Dharmakara Bodhisattva became Amida Buddha and he's now dwelling in his Pure Land shows that he keeps all his vows, because to become the Buddha of infinite light and infinite life was promised in his 12th and 13th vow. Yes. So that means that he is the Buddha of infinite life and infinite light. And he's now dwelling in his Sambhogakaya Pure Land to the west of our Saha world, our samsaric world system. Okay. So if those vows were fulfilled, that means that they are effective. Yes, because a Buddha is giving them power. Yes, a Buddha has amassed the necessary merits and the necessary transcendental merits to make them available, to make them effective vehicles, yes, to bring sentient beings towards enlightenment. Yes, and this is also explained in the Amida Kyo, no? in the smaller sutra, also explained in the Contemplation Sutra and in many other Mahayana sutras, in which Shakyamuni Buddha insistently taught about Amida Buddha. Yes, and remember, Amida Buddha's Pure Land is not the only Pure Land. There are many Pure Lands, but why did Shakyamuni spend so much time explaining about Amida Buddha's Pure Land? Yes, actually, there are many other Buddhas with Pure Lands, but Shakyamuni Buddha repeated throughout all the Mahayana sutras, and he stressed and he praised Amida Buddha's Pure Land above all other Pure Lands. Why? Because he knew that this is the most effective method to attain Buddhahood, and he knew that Amida Buddha's primal vow is the most effective method to bring sentient beings towards enlightenment. That is why he praised Amida Buddha's Pure Land above the Pure Lands of all other Buddhas. Yes. Actually, Amida Buddha's Pure Land is mentioned in more than 200, I think more than 200 sutras in the Mahayana canon, and especially in the larger sutra, which is the most important sutra in the Jodo Shinshu tradition. According to Shinran Shonin, the larger sutra is the main sutra in which we rely. And why? Is because in this sutra, we find an explanation of the primal vow. That is why. The heart of the larger sutra is the primal vow. Yes? And as we will find out later on, the heart of the primal vow is faith in Amida Buddha, Shinjin, yes, which is the heart of Jodo Shinshu, as we will see. Okay. So that is what this sentence at the beginning and at the end of the first section of the primal vow means. If when I attain Buddhahood, yes, and he explains whatever he wants to fulfill in one of the 48 vows, and then at the end he says, may I not attain perfect enlightenment. That means that if he's not capable of doing the thing he's going to say in the vow, then he prefers not to be a Buddha. Yes. But if he indeed had attained Buddhahood, that means that all of the promises of his vows are effective. And in the primal vow, he says that, yes, that if he is Amida Buddha, then he's capable of bringing sentient beings to his Pure Land as long as they fulfill 3 requirements. Remember, first, say, entrust themselves to him. If we entrust ourselves to Amida Buddha. Second is to wish to be born in his Pure Land. Yes, yes. And third is to say his name. Yes. If we fulfill these three requirements, these 3 elements, then Amida Buddha will take care of us, and he will bring us to his Pure Land, because that is the promise that he made. Yes. Okay. Then we will go to the explanation of a second section, is the meaning of sentient beings of the 10 quarters. Okay? Sentient beings of the 10 quarters. What does that mean? Yes. Remember that in the sutra, in the Primal Vow, it is mentioned. Yes. If sentient beings of the 10 quarters who entrust themselves to me, you know, and so on and so forth. Okay. So what does that mean? So this shows that the promise of Amida Buddha, as Joshua Sensei says here, is addressed to all beings, yes, without any discrimination or distinction between them. Doesn't matter their location, and doesn't matter their spiritual capacities, yes, and doesn't matter in what realm they are. It's for all beings in samsara. It is for all beings of all spiritual capacities. For those trapped in their lowest passions, like we are, evil beings in this last Dharma age, wretched beings, even to bodhisattvas in the 10th Bhumi, yes, which among unenlightened sentient beings, they are the most noble, because they are even very close to enlightenment. Even they could even reach enlightenment with their own power, yes, and even then entrust themselves to Amida Buddha. So it covers beings in all the 6 realms of existence, in all the 10 directions, yes. Remember, there are infinite worlds in all the 10 directions, as we explained in the first topic of examination. Remember that we talked about Buddhist cosmology. There are infinite worlds in all the 10 directions, infinite universes in the west, infinite universes in the east, in the north, south. In all directions are infinite world systems in which many sentient beings within samsara are living, yes, according to their own karma. Yes, so all of these worlds possess hell beings, pretas, animals, yes, human beings, asuras, and gods. They all have these worlds in which sentient beings of the 6 realms live, yes, according to their own blind passions, yes. And Amida Buddha made his Primal Vow for all of them. Yes, it's very important to understand this, for all beings, regardless of how good they are, regardless of how evil they are, regardless of how far they are. Yes, it doesn't matter space, time, or karma. Doesn't matter how good or how evil they are. Okay, so let's now read the sacred text. Shinran Shoni in the Tanisho, yes, Shinran Shoni himself stressed this in the Tanisho. He said, "Know that the Primal Vow of Amida makes no distinction between people young and old, good and evil. Only Shinjin, faith, is essential. For it is the vow to save the person whose karmic evil is deep and grave, and whose blind passions abound." Yes. Then Shinran Shonin also says in the hymns of the Dharma ages, the Shosomatsu Watsan, he says, "The power of the vow is without limit. Thus, even our karmic evil, deep and heavy, is not oppressive. The Buddha's wisdom is without bounds. Thus, even those of distracted minds and self-indulgence are not abandoned." Then Honen also said, no? The heinous, heinous means that like the most evil, no? The heinous will be saved and the venal embraced by Amida Buddha. The bad will be saved and the good will be embraced. Those who will live far will be saved, and those who live near embraced. Those who live long after Buddha Shakyamuna's entrance into parinirvana will be saved, and those who lived shortly after embraced. The profundity and extensiveness of the great compassionate primal vow are beyond verbal description. Believe in it in the depth of your heart and validate the truth within yourself. This is what Honen said. No? So Shinran, Honen, and also Renio, and all of the masters of our tradition, they all exalted, or they made emphasis that Amida Buddha's primal vow is for all sentient beings. Yes, and this is very different, no? This is a reflection that I want to share with you. You see, for example, all other Buddhist traditions, like for example, Vajrayana or esoteric Buddhism, Shingon, or for example, I don't know, Yogacara, Chan Buddhism. Are those teachings lofty and beautiful and good on themselves? Of course, because they were taught by Shakyamuni Buddha and by all the great enlightened bodhisattvas of history. Yes, of course they are. However, are they for all beings? Not actually. Yes, because in order to practice these lofty teachings, you have to have perfect morality. You have to have you have to develop wisdom on your own. You have to practice in meditation retreats that last years and years. Yes, remember Bodhidharma, no, the great Zen patriarch of China. Yes, when he went to India to China, he spent like 9 years meditating on a cave. Yes, many great Chan masters, they even cut their own fingers and hands to prove their determination in practicing meditation. Who is capable of these things? The great Dzogchen masters, the great esoteric practitioners like Kukai. Yes, these guys practiced for years, like decades of meditation, and not only meditation, but perfect morality and development of wisdom. They even read the whole Mahayana canon. Yes. So who among us, yes, I'm asking you, the audience, and asking me and myself, who is capable of these great deeds? Very few people. Yes. So even though all Buddhist teachings are beautiful and good on themselves and effective towards bringing you to enlightenment, they have special requirements. You see? Okay, so, and this is very important. In the case of the primal vow, the only requirement are 3 things. I will repeat. Yes, is to entrust yourself to Amida Buddha. Yes, wish to be born in his Pure Lands and say his name in gratitude. Yes, if you do only these 3 simple things, you are assured of Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. You are assured of Buddhahood after you die and you go to the Pure Land, and Amida Buddha will take care of your enlightenment in his special Pure Land. Yes, of bliss and peace. This is unheard of in all Buddhist, I think in all religious history, as Yosho Sensei says. It is very, very unique, you know. Why? It's because this is not mentioned in any self-power practices. This is not mentioned that you have to be a good person. This is not mentioning that you have to do special esoteric practices. This is not mentioning that you have to go in retreat. No. Yes, even as the Contemplation Sutra says, even a person at the verge of death, yes, in his deathbed, yes, a person who is about to die, who has committed nothing but evil deeds, can be saved, yes, if he just entrusts himself to Amida Buddha with his last breath. Then he can attain Buddhahood in the Pure Land. This is unparalleled in all Buddhist history and in all religious history, that something of such power is revealed. Yes. So Shinran Shorin also mentioned that beings in all forms of existence can hear Amida Buddha's message of salvation. So this is not only intended for human beings, but this is also for the gods. This is also for the Bhumadevas. This is also for even for pretas. Yes, yes. But of course, as the larger sutra mentions, the most beings that are born in the Pure Land, they come from the Deva realms and from the human realms. Yes. Why? It's because in the human realms and the Deva realms, the Dharma is present in an open fashion. Yes, Buddhas only teach the Dharma openly in the higher realms of existence. That is not to say that animals and pretas and hell beings are not benefited by the Buddhas. Actually, there are many Buddhas present in all 6 realms of existence. However, they can only preach the Dharma openly in those realms of existence that have sufficient karma and sufficient cognitive capacities to hear the Dharma and put it into practice. Yes, so that is why. But however, it is for all beings in all forms of existence. So, and this is explained by Shinran Shonin. Shinran Shonin says, when sentient beings in the various forms of existence throughout the 10 quarters directions is the same, no? The 10 directions of the universe, on hearing Amida's name of transcendent virtues, come to attain true and real Shinjin, faith. They greatly rejoice at what they have heard. Yes. Then he says, beings born in the Pure Land in the past, present, and future are not solely from this world. Yes. And when he's talking about this world, he's not only talking about this planet, he's talking about this Saha realm. And remember that the Saha realm is a Buddha land, and a Buddha land, only to refresh our memory in Buddhist cosmology, is a great 1,000 world, or one large universe, which is comprised of a billion or 1,000 million samsaras, let's call it, yes, or 6 worlds, yes. So remember, one universe consists of 1,000 worlds, yes, and each of those 1,000 worlds is comprised by the 6 realms of samsara, yes, with hells, animals, pretas, humans, asuras, and gods, 6 realms. You multiply that by 1,000. If you multiply then that again by 1,000, yes, then you got 1 million or universe, 1 million universe. And then if you again multiply that by 1,000, then you get a 1 million, a 1 billionth of those parallel samsaras, let's call it, yes. So if you have one large universe, that is one Buddha land. And it's called a Buddha land because one Buddha is in charge of the liberation or the spiritual care, let's call it, of that particular samsaric universe. In our case, this Saha realm is taken care of by Shakyamuni Buddha. Yes, and of course by other enlightened bodhisattvas who help him.
One more
Yes.
thing, Kosho, sorry to interrupt. Promise of Amida Buddha is addressed to all beings in samsara, not only human beings, and not only beings from our Saha world, but also for beings living in other universes, not only for our universe. That's very important. This is why it is universal. So beings in other universes, which are taken care by other Buddhas, where other Buddhas teach the Dharma, they too can entrust to Amida Buddha and reach the Pure Land. The Primal Vow is available for all and is effective for all beings in all universes, not only our samsaric world. Yeah.
Yes, indeed, Sensei. So the Primal Vow is available for beings in all the Buddha lands, yes, in all the infinite universes in the 10 directions, yes. So that is indeed quite great, no?
That's why we at Amida G have ceremonies and to help non-human beings to entrust to Amida Buddha. This is why we have, they are explained in the book Worshipping Amida Buddha. We have ceremonies to help Preta beings to entrust to Amida Buddha, and to help all types of non-human beings to entrust to Amida Buddha. That's very important. In this kind of ceremonies, we teach them the Dharma. So we are not doing something against the Dharma or against the Primal Vow or against the Jodo Shinshu teaching, because the Primal Vow itself, Amida says in his Primal Vow that he wants to save all beings, and that all beings can entrust to Amida Buddha. And also Shinran Shonin said that, and you already quoted that. Beings in various forms of existence throughout the 10 quarters, they can entrust to Amida Buddha. This is what Shinran says. So it's normal to have such kind of ceremonies. It's normal that we go to mountains, lakes, rivers, cemeteries, and to haunted houses if you want. To say Nembutsu and encourage beings there to entrust to Amida Buddha. You know, if you want to do that.
Yes, and actually we are encouraged to do this. Thank you, Sensei. We're encouraged to do this in Mahayana Buddhism, just to help always all sentient beings. And all beings should hear the Primal Vow, and we should always encourage them to say the Nembutsu, yes, even to create a small connection. Like, for example, I live here in the countryside, the mountains, and there are many dogs here. So many dogs. Even when I go there to do an errand, to buy something in the grocery, I'm followed by 5 dogs. And I always try to put my little nenju on their heads. Namamida Boo, Namamida Boo. Yes, and you can do this. There are many articles, and Joshua Sensei can quote them in this video for you, in which Joshua Sensei teaches many methods to help family members, animals, pretas, even beings in the bardo to go to the Pure Land. So try to incorporate these in your daily life. Try to not only believe in the pure in Amida Buddha's primal vow, but try to preach it to all beings. Yes, because remember, there are many invisible and visible beings that we don't know how intelligent they are, or their karmic seeds from the past. So they could be ready to hear the primal vow. We don't know. Yes, we are not Buddhas, but we can try to benefit them.
Some, as we explain in our books, in our texts, which are based on the sutras, there are many types of animals. For example, some animals have special powers, like the nagas, like the garudas, but we also have animals that live among us, like dogs, like and so on. Nagas, for example, can understand the Dharma and they can entrust to Amida Buddha. But generally speaking, animals like dogs, cats, birds, and so on, even if they don't understand the Dharma, at least by hearing the name of Amida Buddha, by seeing an image with Amida Buddha, they make a first connection with Amida, which sooner or later will help them grow and come closer to Amida Buddha. That's the idea. But spirits like hungry ghosts and many types of spirits and many types of gods, they can understand Amida Dharma, and they can entrust to Amida Buddha, and also beings in Bardo, and they can go to the Pure Land. So this is why we have ceremonies and practices to help non-human beings entrust to Amida Buddha, because we want that the message of the primal vow reach them too.
Yes, indeed, Sensei. And I only want to finish these details by saying, and you know, of course, this is in your books, according to Shinran and the sutras, everything that we do, for example, at the end of our liturgy, the Nembutsu liturgy, which is the most simple liturgy, we have the section of Gan, Nishi, Kudoku, where we say, by the merit of the primal vow and the merits of Amida Buddha, may all beings receive the body-mind, which is Shinjin, no? The faith in Amida Buddha, they entrust themselves to feel, and may they attain birth in the Pure Land. So that means that everything that we are doing is by the merit of Amida Buddha himself. That is the big difference between our ceremonies and the ceremonies of Tibetan Buddhism, for example, in which they dedicate personal merits. In our case, there is no personal merit. We are only, as Joshua Sensei says, we are only like a mirror, no? A mirror doesn't have any light of its own. It only reflects, no, the light. So in our case, yes, we are only reflecting, no, the light of Amida Buddha to other beings if they are open to it.
Yes, very well said, Kosho. In other schools, they dedicate the merit of their practice towards various things, like birth in the Pure Land, or attainment and enlightenment, or so and so beneficial. But we don't think we have merits, and we don't think we practice something, because if Nembutsu was our practice, then it would depend on us, on how focused we are when we say it, on how moral we are when we say it. So Nembutsu depends totally on Amida Buddha. We actually say the name of Amida Buddha, which works because it is the name of Amida Buddha, not our name, and because Amida Buddha placed all his infinite merits in that name. So this is why it is said that Nembutsu is the great practice itself. The name of Amida Buddha is itself the great practice, because it contains all the merits of Amida. the fact that we say the name of Amida does not make the name of Amida our own practice. And I have a very important article on this topic, which I will put a link into the description of this video. So yes, we say that may the merits of Amida Buddha be, or Amida Buddha's primal vow be received by all beings. And may they entrust to Amida Buddha or have a body mind in Jodo Shinshu is faith in Amida Buddha.
Yes.
And may they be born in the Pure Land. Yes.
Yes, actually, I feel very grateful for these teachings, the ceremonies, of course. And I also feel very grateful because in other traditions, they rely on their own merit. So if you are not a great self-power practitioner, then maybe your ceremony won't matter a lot. But in our case, it always matters. Not because we do it because of Amida Buddha. So it's always important. So it's beautiful because we know that Amida Buddha has many mysterious ways in which he can operate, even through fools like us. I always love the analogy of you know these samurai movies, you know, even with a stick, with an old ugly stick, you know, a master can do wonders, and he can take care of all the bad guys, even with one stupid stick. Yes, but even if you have the best katana in the world, or the best sword, if you are a fool, yes, you know, you cannot manipulate the katana, then you won't be of much benefit. So everything depends on who is wielding the sword. In our case, even if we are stupid beings, yes, if Amida Buddha is in charge of us, he can even use such wretched beings to do something that is worthwhile. Yes, but everything depends on Amida Buddha. So it doesn't depend if we are good or evil. Yes, if we entrust ourselves to Amida Buddha, this can create a connection with other sentient beings, visible or invisible. Yes, so I'm very grateful for this teaching indeed, Sensei.
Joshin or Hozan, if you want to add something, please do. Okay.
I just want to give my compliments to Kosho for sharing this with us. It is so rewarding to me to hear this Dharma preached every week, and I really admire you for what you're going through.
Thank you, Yoshin. Everything is merit of Amida Buddha.
Yes, but I really admire you. So I just wanted to say that, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Yoshin. All right, so let's go now to page 17 in the faith, in the meaning of faith and Embutsu Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, and now we will go to explain the heart of the primal vow, which is the part leading with faith. Yes, so the part of the primal vow which says, sincerely entrust themselves to me, desire to be born in my land, and say my name perhaps even 10 times. This is quite important part of the primal vow. Yes, so what is faith here? Yes, and Joshua Sensei puts it very in a very simple example. Yes, if you are sincerely in love with someone, or that, I don't know, you love your father or your mother, you say I love you, often or seldom, and it doesn't matter you know, how many times you say it, as long as you mean it, right? It's not about the quantity, but it's about the feeling of it. It's a natural expression. Okay, some people might say it often, some people rarely say it, but you will say it from time to time. This is the same happens with the name of Amida Buddha. Yes, it's as simple as that. So there is a relationship, a deep relationship between faith and the Nembutsu of faith. Yes, if you have faith in Amida Buddha and you trust him, you will say his name. Yes, you will not obsess over numbers. Yes, you will just say, Amida, I love you. I have gratitude to you, towards you. I have faith in you. I have devotion towards you. I want to be with you. Faith, natural. Okay, so I will now quote a passage from Shinran Shonin. Yes, it will be here. Yes, it's in the notes on the inscriptions of sacred scrolls. Yes, in the collected works of Shinran. Shinran says the following: Through the karmic power of the great vow, the person who has realized true and real Shinjin naturally is in accord with the cause of birth in the Pure Land and is drawn by the Buddha's karmic power. Hence, the going is easy, going to the Pure Land, and ascending to and attaining the supreme great nirvana is without limit. So what does this mean? This means that we go to the Pure Land by virtue of the power of Amida Buddha in the form of Shinjin. Yes. In other words, we go there by the power of Amida Buddha. Yes, it's like, I don't know, you go and you board a plane. Yes, and you go to the other part of the world. Yes, I don't know, to Japan or to Hawaii. Yes, you are not going there because you can fly. You cannot fly. Yes, okay, you cannot even swim there or walk there. You rely on the power of the plane. Yes, on the ingenuity of the engineers. You rely on the pilot. Yes. If there is no pilot, if there is no plane, if there is no aeronautical engineering, then you won't be able to go there. So you are relying completely on the abilities, and the skills, and the powers of others. In this case, in the same way, we don't have any power to abandon samsara on our own, since we are so little evil beings who cannot even remain in the best portions of samsara. Yes. So we cannot even be born in, it's very doubtful, yes, that without Amida's power, we will be born again as a human being. Because many of us are not keeping the precepts, yes? So we cannot even remain in the better portions of samsara, let alone attain arhatship, let alone attain even anuttara samyak sambodhi, which is even higher. So in our case, we rely completely on Amida Buddha. And Amida Buddha says in the Primal Vow that he himself, with his power, not the power of those he's trying to say, but his power, he will bring them towards enlightenment. Yes. And the only thing that he's asking of us is to have faith in him. Yes. To wish to be born in his Pure Land and to say his name. But the most important thing is Shinjin. Why? It's because from faith, you will naturally feel the desire to say Amida's name. And with faith, you will naturally feel the desire to be born in the Pure Land. So Shinjin is like the seed from which everything comes. Yes. And the marvelous thing about Shinran is that he made it so simple. Yes. As Joshua Sensei says, Shinran is a spiritual genius in this sense, because he explained the whole Pure Land tradition in terms of its most fundamental aspect. And the most fundamental aspect for Shinran is Shinjin, faith in Amida Buddha, simple faith in Amida Buddha. From this faith, which does not come from us, comes from Amida Buddha himself, as we will see. Okay. Then Shinran also says, and this is from another book, is from the Hymns of the Pure Land, the Jodo Wasan. Then Shinran says, only with diamond-like Shinjin can we, living in the evil world of the 5 defilements, completely abandon birth and death forever, and reach the Pure Land of naturalness. The cause of the highest perfect enlightenment body is faith, although the causes of enlightenment are innumerable. If faith is presented as one, it contains all the rest. This is in the Kyogyo Shinshu, chapter 4. Yes. So what does this mean? Is that from faith, everything comes. Yes. Yes. And if from faith we are saved, this faith cannot come from our unenlightened minds. Yes. Because if it did, it wouldn't have any power. Yes. This is why precisely these evil and stupid scholars who call Amida Buddha a myth or a symbol are completely wrong, are completely nonsensical and illogical. Yes, because they say that Amida Buddha exists only in our minds, or it's like a symbol or something psychological. Totally BS. Why? It's because if that were the case, then it wouldn't have any power to bring us to anything. Yes, precisely Amida Buddha exists regardless of if we believe in him or not. Also, the Pure Land exists, whether you like it or not. The Pure Land is there outside of our samsaric minds. And it is precisely because Amida Buddha does not depend on our samsaric minds that it has the power to save us. It's as simple as that. Yes? Okay? It's important. You cannot fly to Hawaii in an imaginary plane. You see? You have to rely on a real plane with a real pilot and to go to a real place. You see? So other than that, then everything is make-believe, is psychological stuff. It doesn't have anything to do with Buddhism and with Jodo Shinshu. Yes, nothing to do with the Dharma. The Dharma is speaking about a real enlightened place created by a true Buddha called Amida Buddha. And this Buddha is inviting us to his Pure Land. And he says, do you want to become a Buddha? You say, yes. Okay, what do I have to do? Okay, you have to entrust yourself to me, say my name, I wish to be born in my Pure Land. This is Amida Buddha speaking to us. And we say, okay, yes, Amida Buddha, now Amida Buddha, entrust myself to you. It's very simple. Even a child can comprehend this. We don't have to complicate our minds, you see? Now, we will explain now Shinjin. So Shinjin, especially in our Amida-ji lineage, can be explained in these 8 aspects of faith, the 8 elements of faith that Joshua Sensei was talking about. This is so important.
Wait a second. This is exactly why our crest is the lotus with 8 petals. The lotus with 8 petals signifies the 8 aspects of Shinjin, or the 8 elements of faith in Amida Buddha, that Kosho will now explain. Yes, please.
Okay. Yes, indeed, Sensei. This is present. It's so important that this is the one symbol that is present in our Amida-ji crest. Is the 8-pointed lotus. Why is 8 pointed? Because there are 8 elements of faith. So you could compare this to the spine, yes, to the vertebrae of Amida-ji. So it's so important. Yeah? So these 8 elements I will explain one by one, but I will just say them the 8, yes, just first. First, to accept the actual literal existence of Amida Buddha and his Pure Land. Second element of faith, to accept the story of Amida Buddha as told by Shakyamuni Buddha in the larger sutra. Third, to wish to be born in the Pure Land for the attainment of perfect enlightenment, Buddhahood. 4, to have the twofold profound conviction, which means to know that you are a person of deep karmic limitations, incapable of attaining Buddhahood through your own power, and that only Amida Buddha can save you through his vow power, through the other power of Amida Buddha, without asking anything from you. 5th, to accept the primal vow of Amida Buddha without any doubt and be sure of your birth in the Pure Land. 6th, to accept that birth in the Pure Land of Amida Buddha takes place after death. 7, to say the name of Amida Buddha. And 8, not mix Nembutsu and devotion towards Amida Buddha with other faiths and practices from inside or outside of the Buddha Dharma. Okay, so let's go ahead and explain each of these elements. Yes, remember, this is very important. That is why we are spending so much time, because Shinjin, faith, is the heart of the primal vow. So we are going to be very thorough and explain each element. So the first element of faith is to accept the actual literal existence of Amida Buddha and his Pure Lands. Okay, this section is especially dedicated to contrast the growing view that Amida Buddha is a fictional character, or that Amida Buddha is a psychological or religious symbol of any sort. Amida Buddha is nothing like that. He hasn't been described like this by any of the great Mahayana masters, and especially not by Honen or Shinran or Reni, which are the most important teachers in our tradition, especially Shinran. Yes. So to accept the actual literal existence of Amida Buddha and his Pure Land. And there are beautiful passages precisely by Honen Shonin, the master of Shinran Shonin. He says, Amida Buddha fulfilled the 48 vows and established the Pure Land. He always listens to a person who utters his name. Yes. So Amida Buddha is a real living enlightened being. Yes, he knows when we are thinking of him, he thinks of us. As Honen Shonin says, he says, Amida Buddha never fails to hear you, okay, regardless of time and circumstances. Honen also says, and this is a very beautiful and famous passage, he says, when sentient beings constantly and reverently prostrate themselves before Amida Buddha with their body, Amida Buddha will see them. When they arouse themselves to practice and to always recite with their lips the name of Amida Buddha will hear them. When they constantly think of Amida Buddha in their hearts, Amida Buddha will think of them. In these 3 kinds of karmic acts, Amida Buddha and sentient beings are not separate from each other. Hence, they are called intimate karmic relations. Therefore, if you hold a rosary, an enju, Amida Buddha will see it. If you think in your mind to recite the Nembutsu, Amida Buddha will, in his mind, think of you. Okay? So Amida Buddha is as real as your mother, as your neighbor. Is very real. It's a real enlightened person. Actually, it's even more real than us. Because actually, here in Samsara, everything is like a dream. Actually, Amida Buddha is real. He's more real than us. Yes, because he has seen his Buddha nature. Yes, and Amida Buddha is real. Okay, so Amida
is awakened.
He's
He's
awakened.
awakened from the dream. He's
awakened.
outside of the dream. And the Pure Land is also outside of the dream of samsara. This is why the Pure Land is more real than the world surrounding us, which is a samsaric world. So those people, those deluded scholars to say that who deny the existence of the Pure Land
yes,
are very funny indeed.
Are actually inverting everything.
They are samsaric people living in a dream, saying that a person who is not dreaming is not real.
Yes, yes. Or they are saying that their own delusions are real. Yes, and that
yes, it's like a drunken person says about a sober person that he is the one who is drunk, you know.
Yes.
Or a drunken person pretending to be sober and saying about sober people that they are drunk, you know. This is what these deluded scholars are.
Yes, and actually, this is very important, Sensei, because, well, Amida Buddha is real. It has been seen by many people throughout history, by Shinra, by Honen, by Shakyamuni Buddha himself. And this is the most important testimony. In the larger sutra, in sections 41, we see that Ananda asked Shakyamuni Buddha, he said, I want to see this Amida Buddha. And then by the power of both Shakyamuni and Amida, Amida Buddha manifested himself, not only Amida, but all the enlightened bodhisattvas and all of the scenery of the Pure Land was visible to all the bodhisattvas and arahats present in the audience of the larger sutra. So what we can conclude from this is that Shakyamuni Buddha was very much interested in proving to us that Amida Buddha is real, yes, and his Pure Land is real, and we should be born there. That is why Shakyamuni Buddha spent so much pages of the larger sutra explaining the wonders of Amida Buddha and his Pure Land. Why? Because he wanted us to know that it was a real place, that it is a real place, and that we should be born there. And Amida Buddha, of course,
real enlightened place. That's very important to say. Yes, real enlightened. It is real because it is an enlightened place. While our samsaric environment is not real because it is not enlightened, because it is a dream. That's very important.
Yes, indeed, Sensei. Yes, it is the realm of a Buddha, and for that, and the most important Buddhic realm created by Amida Buddha himself. So it is a manifestation of his compassion and wisdom, which are true and real. And on the other hand, our samsaric world is not real because it is created out of delusion, greed, and anger, the three poisons. Yes, whereas the Pure Land of Amida Buddha is created by the compassion and the wisdom of Amida Buddha, which are true and real. Indeed, Sensei.
And here and now, as these guys often say, here and now is only samsara for us. We who are in delusion, for us, people who live in delusion, here and now is only delusion and samsara. This is our here and now. Our here and now as unenlightened beings is delusion. So we can't say that the Pure Land of reality or the Pure Land of enlightenment is here and now, while here and now we live in delusion. That's very important. It's simple to understand.
It's very simple.
But they can't see because they are arrogant. That's why.
Yes, indeed, Sensei. And also Shakyamuni Buddha himself gave a precise address. No, it's like someone tells you, okay, what is this park that you're so beautiful that you want to talk about? You give, okay, it's there near to this building, near to that building. That means that it's a real place. Yes. So the Pure Land
says it's in the west.
In the west, and he gives you a precise distance. He also gives you a precise owner of the Pure Land, precise features of the Pure Land. So it's very clear in the sutra, and we shouldn't misinterpret what is in the sutra. However, there is also added here in the book by Yosho Sensei is that Amida Buddha, of course, as we have explained, is in 3 places at the same time. It's in his ultimate Dharmakaya, beyond form, in his Pure Land in Sambhogakaya form, and in the infinite forms of transformed bodies, of accommodated bodies, Nirmanakayas, all over the universe. So this is a little reminder. Remember, the Dharmakaya is without beginning or end, beyond name and form. The Sambhogakaya has a beginning and has no end. Yes, this is the body that was acquired by Amida Buddha when he fulfilled his 48 vows. Is the Sambhogakaya body of glory, and the Nirmanakaya, which is all the accommodated bodies that Amida Buddha can send to limitless parts of the universe to fulfill various activities for the sake of sentient beings, and those bodies can end whenever Amida Buddha wishes to. And this is also true for all the Buddhas. Yes, so all Buddhas have these 3 bodies, and this is also the case for Amida Buddha. They have the Dharmakaya without name and form and without beginning or end. The Sambhogakaya, which has a beginning when a Buddha attains enlightenment, Buddhahood, and which will have the features or the characteristics of the vows of each great bodhisattva, and the Nirmanakaya, which is the ability of Buddhas, and especially this case of Amida Buddha, to send countless bodies of accommodation according to the capacities of all sentient beings in all corners of the universe. So Amida Buddha is in these 3 places at the same time. He's in his Pure Land, in Sambhogakaya, in Dharmakaya, beyond names and forms, in all corners of the universe at the same time, yes, omnipresent in the Dharmakaya, yes, is in his Pure Land in Sambhogakaya, and he is also in various forms according to the capacities of sentient beings in Nirmanakaya, yes, in various, for example, if you ever have a vision of Amida Buddha, this is a Nirmanakaya, adapted to your own state of consciousness, on your own necessities and capacities, okay? Okay, so the Nirmanakaya has various forms, and it can have a beginning or an end according to the needs of sentient beings, yes? So, these are the three places in which Amida Buddha dwells. And then Shakyamuni Buddha said in the Contemplation Sutra, Amitayus, exercising supernatural powers at will, can freely manifest his various forms in the lands of the 10 directions. Okay, so Amida Buddha can manifest in countless forms. Yes, in any form that is useful to teach the Dharma. Okay, Buddha Amitayus possesses 84,000 physical characteristics, each having 4,000 secondary marks of excellence. Each secondary mark emits 84,000 rays of light. Each ray of light shines universally upon the lands of the 10 directions, embracing and not forsaking those who are mindful of the Buddha. This is the Sambhogakaya body, no? The body of glory. This body is, you will not see until you go to the Pure Land, because it's so magnificent and can only be seen by enlightened beings. You see? So it's very, very important for us to understand that. And then Nirmanakayas, of course, are adapted to every capacity or your mind. Okay, and of course the Dharmakaya cannot be seen or heard because it's beyond the senses, it's beyond name and form, beyond forms and names. So this is the body that all Buddhas possess.
It's beyond the names and forms as we see it. You know, so while the name of Amida Buddha is rooted in ultimate Dharmakaya. So it's beyond any idea, any concept that we might have about this.
Yes, and actually, sadly, many Yodo Shinshu followers and many Pure Land practitioners in general, they misunderstand the Dharmakaya, and they think that they can take refuge in the Dharmakaya, and when they see Amida Buddha, they want to focus on the Dharmakaya, but of course this is counterproductive. This is nonsensical, because precisely Amida Buddha made so much efforts precisely is because to give the Dharmakaya a particular form and a particular name in order to build a bridge in between ultimate reality and us. Yes, so the bridge is very important. we shouldn't disregard the bridge, and we should worship Amida Buddha with his name, yes, and to wish to be born in the Pure Land as described by Shakyamuni Buddha. Yes, so we shouldn't use the Dharmakaya beyond forms to deny Amida Buddha. in his particular Sambhogakaya aspects. This is very important. Yes.
And Amida Buddha is, as you said, in the same time, his ultimate Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya in the Pure Land, and he has various Nirmanakayas. So
Yes.
we should just rely on Amida Buddha in name and form.
In name and form. This is
Because
very
that
important.
name and form of Amida is not like the name and form in samsara. The name and form of Amida is rooted in ultimate reality, is the enlightened name of Amida, enlightened form of Amida and his Pure Land, which is the real name, the real form. It's a form of reality, name of reality, name of ultimate reality, not like the names of samsaric names as we have. So when we say that ultimate Dharmakaya is beyond name and form, we say that is beyond name and samsaric names and forms. It is beyond samsaric formulations, samsaric phenomena, beyond samsaric ideas, beyond anything that we can conceive with our limited mind. That's very important. Okay.
Yes, indeed, Sensei. Yes. So we should rely on Amida Buddha the way he intended, no, in the primal vow. This is very important, no. Now let's go now to the second element of faith: is to accept the story of Amida Buddha as told by Shakyamuni Buddha in the larger sutra. Okay. So the source of our understanding in Jodo Shinshu of Amida Buddha and his primal vow comes from the larger sutra. Yes. Why? It's because according to Shinran Shonin, this is the most important teaching that Shakyamuni Buddha ever gave. Yes, the larger sutra. So therefore, there are many sutras that speak of Amida Buddha. There's the Amida Kyo, the Contemplation Sutra, and many others, even tantras that speak of Amida Buddha. But we don't rely on those. We rely on the larger sutra. Okay. So the larger sutra tries to explain in our human language all the wonders of the Pure Land and Amida Buddha and his method of salvation. Yes. Then Shinran Shonin actually mentions this in a very important passage. I will try to read it, most of it. Yes.
One more thing to add here. We do not rely on other sutras that speak about Amida Buddha, because other sutras, except the larger sutra on Amida, were sutras meant for a provisory teaching on Amida Buddha, intended for those people who still cling to a form of self-power. See? So that's why only the teaching contained in the larger sutra on Amida Buddha is the most direct teaching about Amida Buddha, is the true teaching on Amida Buddha, not a provisory teaching like in other sutras. Okay.
Yes, actually, this pertains to another question, which is that according to Shinran Shonin, the Contemplation Sutra is for those who practice the 19th vow, and the smaller Amida Kyo is for those who practice the 20th vow. But the 18th vow,
these are people who still cling.
They cling to other self-practice.
To their self-power. They entrust to Amida, but not completely.
Not completely. So these are provisionary teachings for them. But for those of us who want to entrust ourselves to according to the 18th vow, then the larger sutra is the main sutra.
Yes,
no?
And also other sacred texts from various traditions, like for example those who teach Pova, transference of conscience to the Pure Land. Those are actually provisional teachings for those who don't have full total faith in Amida Buddha, those who don't have the faith of the primal vow, total faith in Amida Buddha. Those are guided towards various teachings like smaller sutra, contemplation sutra, and various other teachings and texts from various traditions like Pova practice. So those who are guided to the Pure Land through Pova, so through transference of merits done by some Tibetan practitioners, can at best reach the borderland of the Pure Land, but not the center of the Pure Land or the fulfilled land of the Pure Land, which is the place people who have total faith in Amida Buddha go. And so those who go through Pova in the Pure Land or through other practices not related with the primal vow, they don't attain enlightenment because they are still in the borderland and they still have to abandon reliance on self-power to advance to the center of the Pure Land.
Yes.
Okay.
If you
So that's why, that's why many Chinese practitioners say that, oh, in the Pure Land, you continue to practice the Dharma. Because they need to practice because they are not enlightened, because in the borderland, they didn't attain enlightenment. While when you go to the Pure Land through the gate of the Primal Vow, there is no need for practice because you automatically become a Buddha.
Yes, that is very important. Thank you so much, Sensei. Indeed, those practitioners see the Pure Land as a great university, where they can study and practice. We don't see it as that. We see it as a place of enlightenment. Yes. Which is different, no? Indeed, Sensei. Yes, I want to quote here Shinran. No, Shinran. Let me see. Is it the collected works of Shinran? Yes, he says to reveal the true teaching. This is Shinran talking about the larger sutra. To reveal the true teaching, it is the larger sutra of the Buddha of immeasurable life. The central purport of this sutra is that Amida, by establishing the incomparable vows, has opened the wide Dharma storehouse, and full of compassion for small, foolish beings, selects and bestows the treasure of virtues. The sutra further reveals that Shakyamuni appeared in this world and expounded the teachings of the way to enlightenment, seeking to save the multitudes of living beings by blessing them with this benefit that is true and real. Thus, to teach the Tathagata's primal vow is the true intent of this sutra. The name of the Buddha is its essence. The larger sutra reveals the true teaching. It is indeed the right exposition for which the Tathagata appeared in the world. And there are other parts of this passage, but this passage reveals what Shinran Shonin considered the larger sutra to be. Okay, so the larger sutra, according to Shinran, the true purpose or the heart of the larger sutra is the primal vow. Yes, other sutras, as Yosho Sensei points out, are designed for those who follow the 19th and the 20th vow. Yes, which do not lead to the true fulfilled land, but to the borderland, and are intended for those who still cling to their self-power. But the 18th vow leads to the center of the Pure Land. Why? It's because the reason we can be born there is through the power of Amida Buddha himself. So therefore, it's free of self-power. And since it is free of self-power, it leads towards enlightenment. Because the cause is pure, as the famous saying, because the cause is pure, then the effect or the fruit is pure. Yes. Why? It's because we rely completely on Amida Buddha to go to the Pure Land. Therefore, when we go there, we attain perfect enlightenment, because the element that is bringing us to the Pure Land is Amida Buddha himself. Okay, so the cause is pure, then the fruit is pure. But in the case of those who follow the 19th and the 20th vow, they don't rely on Amida Buddha completely, so they are still some impurity. What is the impurity? The impurity of self-power. Yes, so Amida Buddha cannot work in them completely. Therefore, Amida Buddha allows them to be born in the Pure Land so they can expiate or purify their self-power. And once they entrust themselves to the 18th vow, then can be born in the center of the Pure Land. Okay, so in our case, we go directly to the center of the Pure Land because we are fulfilling the wish of Amida Buddha himself, which is to entrust completely to him, to let him do his work, to let him transfer his transcendental merits without us trying to transfer anything. We don't have any merits to transfer, any transcendental merits. All the merits come from Amida Buddha himself in the form of Shinjin. Okay, and remember that since other teachings are not as direct, yes, even other Pure Land teachings like the 19th and the 20th vow, yes, then all of those other teachings that are not the primal vow are considered to be provisional teachings or not universal teachings, yes, whereas the primal vow is truly universal and truly the supreme vehicle for which the Tathagata Shakyamuni appeared in this world. Why? It's because the objective of all Buddhas is to save all sentient beings. And which of all these teachings fulfills this role best? The primal vow. of Amida Buddha, or all of the other mixed practices. If we think this through, yes, we will realize that the other teachings have a lot of requirements, yes, and since they have a lot of requirements, they are not intended for all beings. Yes, if you are an evil being, ignorant, incapable of great practices of meditation and morality and wisdom, then you are not eligible for those practices. And actually, even if you are eligible for those practices, their effect is only the borderland. Yes, so imagine that. In our case, we are not capable of anything, yes, but still we are capable to be born in the center of the Pure Land. How is this possible? It's through the power of the Primal Vow, through the power of Amida Buddha, who gives us his merits in the form of Shinjin. And since this Shinjin does not come from us, yes, then we have the true cause of birth in the Pure Land, okay? So this is indeed quite miraculous and amazing that Amida Buddha is able to do this through the power of the Primal Vow.
Yeah,
And this is
it's very important to remember, and this is extremely important for Amidaji branch of Jodo Shinshu, because we place extreme importance on the fact that Shakyamuni Buddha revealed Amida Buddha to Ananda and to all those who gathered to listen to the larger sutra. It is very important because as Kosha also mentioned, Ananda Shakyamuni presented Amida to Ananda. Amida appeared in all his glory. Amida in his Pure Land appeared in all his glory to Ananda and to all those gathered there. And Shakyamuni then asked Ananda, "Did you see the Pure Land?" And Amida, and he says, "Yes, I saw." "Did you hear the sounds of the Pure Land?" And he says, "Yes, I heard." And why is Shakyamuni doing that? Why is he asking Ananda, "Did you see? Did you hear?" Because that was a testimony. Because that sutra and that event was a testimony for the real existence of Amida in his Pure Land. And Shakyamuni says, "I have expounded this teaching, this larger sutra, for the sake of saving sentient beings, and I enabled you to see Amida and all in his Pure Land. Strive to do what you should. After I have passed into nirvana, that is, after he leaves his physical body, do not allow doubt to arise. So do not doubt about the existence of Amida Buddha, about the things that I showed you," says Shakyamuni. "I showed you Amida and the Pure Land. Do not doubt about this, because I did it on purpose, so that you have faith." And he says, Shakyamuni, "Even if a great fire were to fill the universe of 1,000 million worlds, you should pass through it to hear this sutra, to arouse joyful faith in it, to uphold and chant it, and to practice it in accordance with his teaching." And it's very important. And Shakyamuni says you should accept the sutra in faith. And he says most difficult of all difficulties is to have faith in this sutra. You know, to have faith with joy, to be joyous that such a sutra exists, to have that joy of faith, to have faith in this sutra and to hold fast to it. This is what we do at Amidaji. We hold fast to the sutra. That's the mission of Amidaji, to hold fast to this sutra and to transmit this testimony of Amida, of Ananda, that the Pure Land is real, the Amida Buddha is real. This is the mission of Amidaji. This is why Amidaji appeared in this world. That's very important.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Indeed, Sensei, thank you for those words. Indeed, that the most important thing in this larger sutra is to accept the explanations provided by Shakyamuni Buddha himself in the larger sutra about Amida Buddha's primal vow. Yes, this is indeed quite important. And I just wanted to end this explanation of this element of the larger sutra, to believe the story of the larger sutra, by quoting the hymns of true faith on the Nembutsu, the Shoshinge. There, Shinran also has a very beautiful passage in which he says, "The reason for the Buddha's appearance in the world is above all to expound the primal vow of Amida Buddha, wide and deep as the ocean. All beings in the evil age of the 5 defilements should believe in the truth of the Buddha's words." Okay, so we should believe Shakyamuni Buddha's explanation of Dharmakara Bodhisattva, how Dharmakara became Amida Buddha, the 48 vows, and especially the primal vow. And as Yosha Sensei once explained to me, it's not like all those who have faith in Amida Buddha have to read by force the whole sutra. Yes, because many people, maybe, I don't know, we don't know the situation in the world in the future. Maybe many things will happen. Maybe people will forget how to read. We don't know. Yeah. Okay. We don't know how fucked up the world will be in the future. Yes. But if they only hear the primal vow, that will be sufficient. Yes. Okay.
Because that is the essence of the larger sutra.
Because that is the essence. That is beautiful,
So
of course.
any ignorant peasant who hears that Amida Buddha is the real Buddha, a real enlightened person, and his pure land is real and wants to go there, that is hearing the larger sutra in faith.
Yes, indeed, Sensei. That is why we should praise this primal vow is so blessed. Yes, and that is why we should always explain the larger sutra in simple words. But of course, since we still have the larger sutra in our hands, we should start the whole thing, no, the whole text. Yes, and we should do it with gratitude in our hearts. But even if those people in the future, and even now, people who are maybe lazy, they don't want to read the whole sutra, if they only read the primal vow and then trust themselves to it, then that is good. Or they, maybe if they only read the Amida Dharma, which is a very simple explanation, that is sufficient. Yes.
Yes. Any teaching which is in accord with the larger sutra, that is representing the larger sutra.
Indeed.
So,
indeed.
Yes. And it is very important. Honen said, "I, Honen, believe in the words of Buddha Shakyamuni and long for birth in the pure land with all my heart." So Honen Shonin believes in the words of Buddha Shakyamuni in the larger sutra, believes in the testimony of Ananda, who saw Amida Buddha in the pure land, believes in the fact that that Shakyamuni showed Amida in his pure land to all the audience there. Honen believes that, and also Shinran believes that, because Shinran said that the larger sutra is the right exposition for which the Tathagata appeared in the world. So if you call yourself a Jodo Shinshu Buddhist, that is a disciple of Shakyamuni, Shinran, and Honen and Shinran, how can you say that the larger sutra was a later invention? Or how can you say that Amida is a symbol or not a real living Buddha and the Pure Land not a real place, when you have these masters believing the words of Shakyamuni, who himself said that you should accept this sutra in faith, that he came in this world to enable you, Ananda, and all those gathered there, to see Amida, so that you can tell this story to future generation. You can share this teaching, this vision that you have with Amida to others, so that all sentient beings in the future believe in the Buddha's words, that Amida is the real Buddha, Pure Land is the real place of enlightenment.
Yes, I just want to end this element. Thank you, Sensei, is to say that don't let these deluded scholars pull the wool over your eyes. Don't let them fool you. Don't let Uno or Bloom or Manshi fool you. Yes, the words of Shakyamuni Buddha, Nagarjuna, Tan Luan, Tao Shuo, Shan Tao, Honen, Shinran, especially Renyo, are infinitely more important than those words of these deluded scholars. Yes, the words of the great bodhisattvas.
Yes, Nagarjuna, who taught so many deep philosophies about the ultimate nature, he said that he bows his head to Amida Buddha and he worships him. You see? And he says, surrounded are you by countless of bodhisattvas, and I worship you, O Buddha. So
Sensei, was
Nagarjuna did that.
Nagarjuna already a Buddha? But he was pretending to be a Buddha, so that way he showed people to entrust to Amitabha Buddha?
Shakyamuni had a prophecy about the apparition of Nagarjuna. He said that he will appear, he will teach about ultimate nature, and then he will go to Sukhavati, to the Pure Land. This is what Shakyamuni said about Nagarjuna. It was a prophecy.
I believe he was already a Buddha.
Such a prophecy is recorded in the text. So yes, now Nagarjuna is in the Pure Land.
Thank you, Namo Amida Bu.
Namo
Sorry
Amida.
for whoever was talking.
No. We Tamida G, we all talk. Just interrupt each other.
Thank
Okay,
you,
continue.
Sensei and Hosan for everything. I will now continue with the third element of faith. Yes, is to wish to be born in the Pure Land for the attainment of perfect enlightenment. This is a very important element. All the elements are important, but this is important because it's saying here that we should wish to be born in the Pure Land for the attainment of Buddhahood. So the first thing that comes to mind is that the Pure Land is not some kind of a paradise. It's not some kind of celestial realm of the gods. Yes, the Pure Land, it has nothing in common with the heavenly realms of existence, and many people misunderstand this. Yes, many people who might be somewhat distracted, they might read about the Pure Land and they say, "Oh, this is like the heaven of the Christians." No, it doesn't have to do anything to do with this. Yes, the Pure Land is above the realms of the gods. Yes, because the realms of the gods, which are many, are still within the will of samsara. They are still in the world of death and of ignorance. But the Pure Lands of the Buddhas, and especially Amida Buddha's Pure Land, is above all of these realms of ignorance. Yes, because it's a realm emanated by the wisdom and the perfect compassion of Amida Buddha himself. Okay, so this is not a place just to go and I don't know, engage in attachment to sensual delights. Yes, everything in the Pure Land is a spiritual treasure, and it is emanated by Amida Buddha himself in order for other beings to attain the same level he has, which is Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. And of course, the activities of all the enlightened bodhisattvas and the enlightened beings in the Pure Land is to help sentient beings. This is the delight that they have. It's not a worldly delight. It's the delight of the Dharma. Yes, they delight in the Dharma. They don't delight. They don't go to the Pure Land to have fun and to be selfish. It's quite the opposite. Yes, we should aspire to go to the Pure Land to become Buddhas and then help all sentient beings that are still trapped in samsara. Okay, so this is the objective. We should aspire to be born in the Pure Land to escape samsara, and after escaping samsara, attaining Buddhahood, and then returning here to samsara in various bodies of accommodation for the benefit of sentient beings, to deliver them of samsara and to lead them to enlightenment. This is very important. Yes, whereas heavenly realm is a place where you go to have fun. Yes, for example, if you go to I don't know, to Nirmanarati, or you go to the places of Brahma, you go there and you enjoy your meditative concentration, or you enjoy your heavenly delights. Yes, and then after your good karma expires, then you again fall to the human realm, and then even to the lowest hell. Yes, because this is still inside the wheel of samsara. Whereas if you go to the Pure Land, you will never return to samsara. You will only return to samsara as a Buddha, which is quite different. Okay, this is very important. Now, the thing is that, as Yosho Sensei says here, yes, we can have two visions in this world. This is a mundane vision or a dharmic vision. Yes, the mundane vision is what is considered popular or considers to make sense in a given period of time. Yes, there are many philosophies that have come into this world, and the same way they have come, they have left. Yes, why? It's because they are trends. There are the things that an unenlightened sentient beings think. Therefore, they are impermanent, and they can only lead to more delusion because they have been produced by unenlightened minds. Yes, so everything that our world poses as important, like for example, I don't know, get a job or go to the university or go get money. Yes, these are mundane pursuits. Yes, they might be important for the sustainment of life or everything, but they have nothing in common with the darkening vision of the world, in which, as Joshua Sensei says, everything is explained in terms of the four profound thoughts: the preciousness of human birth. Yes. The law of karma, yeah, the impermanence and death, yes, that everything in samsara is a product of suffering and leads to suffering, yes. So the contemplation of these important truths, yes, of karma, of samsara, of Buddhahood, and of the preciousness of human life and of our mortality and the impermanence in the world is what makes us Buddhist. All of these reflections are the foundation or the bedrock of all Mahayana Buddhism. So we should, instead of adopting a mundane perspective of life, we should see life and the universe and our own life through the lens of the Dharma. And that means that we should consider all of these truths and believe in them. Once we believe in these truths and we recognize that we are trapped in samsara, then we should strive to find a solution. Yes, and the best solution within the Buddha Dharma is to be born in Amida Buddha's Pure Land. So we shouldn't waste our time. Yes, first of all, we shouldn't waste our time in non-Buddhist religions, in samsaric philosophies. Yes, why? Is because the end of these philosophies will be samsara. Yes, because they are produced by samsaric minds. Therefore, their end, yes, their ultimate end will be again to be in samsara. Yes, so we shouldn't waste our time in nihilistic philosophies which don't even consider the law of karma. Yes, and they don't have any concern for the afterlife. Many people nowadays have fallen into this wrong view of considering they are only their physical body. They think that once their body is gone, then the show is over. Yes, but this is not what we believe as Buddhists. The other people are in the other extreme of eternalism, and they believe that they were created by an eternal God, which is the judge of the universe, and they also deny the law of karma. Yes, and they think that the objective of their life is to go to heaven, to worship these gods. Yes, this is also wrong. So we abandon the wrong view of nihilism, yes, this extreme view of nihilism, and we abandon also the wrong view of eternalism, and we believe in the law of cause and effect in the 6 realms of samsara as taught in the sutras, and we also believe in the Buddhas, which have pure lands like Amida Buddha's Pure Land, in which we can aspire to go and attain enlightenment. But the difference between the other Pure Lands is that in order to be born in other Pure Lands, like the Pure Land of Padmasambhava or Medicine Master Buddha, we have to be saints. We have to be very accomplished meditation masters, or even arahats or holy beings. So we are encouraged by Shakyamuni Buddha to go to the best Pure Land for all beings that has the swiftest effect, the most effective effect, which is to attain enlightenment and Uttara Samyak Sambodhi, yes, by entrusting ourselves to the Primal Vow, which, as Shinran states, is the most profound and the most universal teaching, and the reason why all Buddhas appear in the universe is to teach about Amida Buddha. And for all those beings who still don't have the necessary karma or the good karma to entrust themselves to the Primal Vow, then they are taught other teachings that are provisional. Yes, they are taught the 19th vow, the 20th vow, or other self-power practices until they have the sufficient, their karma is sufficiently ripened to hear the Primal Vow and entrust themselves to Amida Buddha. But actually, all Buddhas in all the 10 directions, they appear in the universe to teach about Amida Buddha because they know for a fact that this is the teaching that can lead them swiftest, this is the swiftest teaching that can lead them towards enlightenment. Yes, and this is universal because it can lead all beings, regardless of their spiritual capacities, to the Pure Land. Okay, so this is very, very important indeed. I will give you now some examples of the masters encouraging us to be born in the Pure Land and to abandon samsara. Yes, this is Shinran Shonin quoting Master Shantao. Yes, he says, I say to all practitioners, abhor birth and death, the fate of ordinary beings, and do not cling to it. aspire for Amida Buddha's Pure Land and do not think lightly of it. If you abhor the Saha world, you will forever part from it. If you aspire for the Pure Land, you will eternally dwell in it. If you part from the Saha world, the causes of the 6 realms will cease to be, and the resultant states of transmigration will spontaneously perish. If the causes and the results cease to be, the forms and names of samsaric states will immediately be annihilated. This is Master Shantao, which is considered to be an emanation of Amida Buddha himself. And he's telling us that we should abandon samsara and aspire to be born in the Pure Land. And once we are born in the Pure Land, then samsara will be extinguished. Why? It's because our delusion will be extinguished, our ignorance will be extinguished, and then there won't be a samsara for us. Yes, there will only be enlightenment. And therefore, that is why all Buddhas can manifest in samsara and they are never in pain. They have no troubles. Why? It's because they have an enlightened mind, and then they don't see samsara. Yes, they only see enlightenment. But of course, they understand that for some beings, they have a limited view, so they want to remove the dust from the eyes of all beings, so that they can attain the same enlightenment they possess. Okay, or in which they dwell better, because enlightenment is something that you are, not something that you have. It's something that you become. This is very important.
They can understand samsara. They can see samsara. They can see the sufferings of those in delusion, but they don't dwell. They are not part of samsara. Yes.
Yes, they understand that some people might not see what they see, but however, they always dwell in enlightenment. Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Yes, and they enjoy.
But but Buddhas can understand everything that you feel. They know everything that you feel. They know every cell in your body. They know every thought of all sentient beings all over the all samsaric universes. So they know. For example, I look to you, and if you might look sad, and I might get the feeling that you are sad. But if I was a Buddha, I would feel everything about you. I will know every little thought you have, every little feeling you have, so that, and I would know exactly what to do to get you out from that state. You know.
Indeed, yes. Buddhas have the capacity to read the minds of all sentient beings.
And also, I would know what every cell in your body is doing right now in the same time.
Yes.
Yes.
Indeed. Okay, so let me go ahead.
Yes, so it's very important to understand that we go to the Pure Land for the attainment of enlightenment. And going to the Pure Land means the attainment of perfect enlightenment. Yes. As Shira said, when a person entered into the Pure Land of happiness, he or she immediately realizes the supreme nirvana. He realizes the supreme enlightenment. And although the term differ, they both mean to realize the enlightenment of the Buddha, who is Dharma body or ultimate Dharmakaya. So you attain ultimate Dharmakaya. And in the same time, you manifest the Sambhogakaya in the Pure Land, and you can go everywhere manifesting various Nirmanakayas or accommodated bodies to help all sentient beings.
The fourth element of faith is to have the twofold profound conviction, Nishu Jin Shin. So all elements of faith are equally important. This element is particularly important as well. And this twofold profound conviction is called Nishu Jin Shin in Japanese. Its faith in Amida Buddha has a twofold profound conviction. And this is explained famously by Master Shantao, as quoted by Shinran Shonin in his Kyogyo Shinsho. And he explained it like this. Basically, the summary of the twofold profound conviction is two, no? The first element of the twofold profound conviction is to know that we are people of deep karmic limitations, incapable of attaining Buddhahood through our own power. Yes. So we accept that we are completely incompetent to attain enlightenment through our own power, through self-power methods. Okay. And then Two, to know that only Amida Buddha can save us through his own vow power, the other power, the Tariki, the power of Amida Buddha, without asking anything from us, without asking anything. Okay, see, this is the twofold profound conviction. Master Shantao explained that in more detail. Here in page 39, he says, the deep mind is the deep and trusting faith. No? It has two aspects. First, to believe deeply and unwaveringly that we are actually ordinary beings of karmic evil, subject to birth and death, ever sinking and ever transmigrating in samsara since innumerable kalpas, without a chance to escape from it. Second, to believe deeply and unwaveringly that the 48 vows of Amida Buddha enfold sentient beings, enabling them to board his vow power and attain birth in the Pure Land. Okay. So and then Master Shinran Shonin clarified this. Master Seikaku clarified this in this following passage. He says, there are two aspects concerning this mind of trust. The first is to believe oneself to be a foolish being of defiled karma, subject to birth and death from incalculable kalpas past, constantly sinking and constantly churning without any condition that could lead to liberation. The second is to believe deeply and decisively that since one does not doubt that Amida's 48 vows grasp sentient beings, one rises on the power of that vow, and Amida Buddha's primal vow, of course, and will without fail attain birth in the Pure Land. Yes. And then Master Shinran Shonin clarifies this. So the first quote was from Master Shantao, quoted by Shinran his Kyoki Oshinsho, then Master Seikaku, yes. And then Master Shinran Shonin explains, to be free of self-power, having entrusted oneself to the other power of the primal vow, this is faith alone. Faith alone also means nothing is placed unequal with this changing of other power, for it is the working of the universal primal vow. Okay, so we don't have any, basically what Master Shantao, Seikaku, and Shinran are saying is something very simple and very deep. Yes, this is what is deep, profound conviction, is that to admit that we cannot, yes, as Master, as Yosho Sensei says, yes, Yosho Sensei says in his commentary of the Tanishan, this one moment thought of Shinjin is the moment when we admit that we cannot, and that we recognize that Amida Buddha can save us. Okay, so this is the turning of the heart, or the changing one's heart. It doesn't have to do with anything like self-purification or like trying to create something within us. It's to open ourselves to Amida Buddha's light. And once we receive this light, we are able to see ourselves as we truly are. Yes. Another analogy that is used by Yosho Sensei is to light. You can try to illuminate a room with a small candle, no, like a candlestick, no, or a small candle. You will be able to see very little. But if you turn like a big lamp, you were able to see everything, every little corner full with dirt and with animals and with rats, mice, and spiders. In that way, once we seek Amida Buddha's light and this light enters our hearts, we are able to see our own faults, our own evil karma, and we are able to see ourselves as we truly are. And what are we truly? We are incompetent sentient beings who are not able to save ourselves. Yes, and if we are left alone at the mercy of our own evil karma, we will surely fall into the evil realms. We will surely fall into hell, into the realms of the pretas, into the realms of the animals. Yes, okay. So this is very important to understand. If we are left alone, but if we recognize this and we entrust ourselves to Amida Buddha, and in the same manner that we admitted that we cannot, we accept that Amida Buddha can save us through his primal vow, then we have this twofold profound conviction. Okay, so this is very important. So as Yosho Sensei points here in page 40, he says, a follower of the primal vow abandons any idea that he can transfer some personal merits towards birth in the Pure Land or enlightenment, and relies entirely on Amida Buddha's transference of merit. This transference of merit of Amida Buddha is the transcendental merits of Amida Buddha. Yes, as Joshua Sensei says, it's like a blood infusion. Yes, Amida Buddha is like putting his blood in us, his energy, his fuel. Yes, and this is the fuel that can make us go to the Pure Land. Yes, in another analogy that we can have is like riding on a plane. Yes, that is entirely dependent on the captain, entirely dependent on the fuel that we haven't bought. Yeah, we are completely invited for free in this plane. And the only thing we have to do is to accept the favor of Amida Buddha, to accept his helping hand. And it is through the merits, through the energy, and through the karmic power of Amida Buddha that we go to his Pure Land, through his transcendental merits. We, on our own, we don't have any transcendental merits. We only have many, maybe mundane merits, and not even that. Yes, because we cannot even be born in the higher realms on our own nowadays. Yes, many people are committing all kinds of evil karma. Yes, it doesn't take a wise person to see this. If you only recognize what is around you and what are people doing with their free time, you will realize that we are creating evil karma big time. Yes, so we don't even have mundane merits, let alone transcendental merits. Okay, so since we don't have anything to dedicate, what are you going to dedicate? Yes, it's like having a car without a fuel. No, as Joshua says, if you don't have fuel, then you cannot go anywhere. Yes, you need energy. So in this case, we don't have any merits of our own. So we accept the fuel, the energy, the transcendental merits that Amida Buddha is dedicating to us, and we only say thank you, Nam Amida Bu. Yes. So there is nothing here relating to personal merits here. Personal merits are out of the question here. It's Amida's merits that matter. Amida Buddha's merits that have actually a good conclusion. Yes, Amida's merits that can rely that we can rely upon to attain birth in Amida Buddha's Pure and attain their Nirvana Buddhahood. Okay. Also, there is the famous saying, no, as Shinran says all the time, because the cause is pure, the fruit is also pure. Yes, since we are accepting Amida Buddha's transcendental merits, okay, and in the form of Shinjin, then we are born in the Pure Land through his power, not through our own. So even that Shinjin comes from Amida Buddha. That is why Shinjin cannot be lost. That is why, even though we are stupid evil beings in this Dharma and lineage, we are still capable of having faith in Amida Buddha throughout one lifetime. Yes, or throughout many years before we are born in the Pure Land. How is this possible? Yes, how is this possible? And this is something that, for example, in Yoshin's videos, yes, in his YouTube channel, which I've also enjoyed, yes, even before meeting Joshua Sensei, he's always surprised, Yoshin, no, where he says, how is it possible that I am an ordinary guy full with evil passions, is capable of having faith, and this faith is not affected by anything. It's wonderful. Yes. So in this case, we are all like that because we are not capable of maintaining anything stable within our unenlightened minds. It is only through Amida Buddha's power, yes, that this Shinjin can be there. And since this Shinjin comes from Amida Buddha himself, it is pure, it is transcendental. And it is through this Shinjin that we are able to be born in the center of the Pure Land, where we attain enlightenment, Buddhahood. Yes, why? It's because the fruit, what is the fruit? Shinjin is pure. The fruit is Anuttara Samjak Sambodhi, is enlightenment, is Buddhahood. Yes, if we are born through the 19th vow or the 20th vow, what are indirect ways to be born in the borderland, then the fruit is the cause is not pure. Why? It's because they have mixed faith, they have mixed practices. They combine Amida Buddha's influence with their own self-power. So therefore, the fruit is not pure. So they don't attain enlightenment in the Pure Land. They attain enlightenment afterwards, but when they attain birth, they attain birth in the borderland. So in the case of followers of the 18th vow, since we accept this twofold profound conviction, and we accept Shinjin that comes from Amida Buddha, then we go straight to the center of the Pure Land. Okay. So as Joshua Sensei says, we should stop trying to remove in our vocabulary the word personal merit. We don't have any personal merits, not when it comes to transcendental matters. Yes, Okay, I mean, we might be, I don't know, a good engineer, a good electrician, a good doctor, or whatever. That's good. Yes. Okay. And we're talking about mundane stuff. But when when we are talking about attaining enlightenment, we're talking about Buddhahood, is completely different matter. Then, okay, then your merits are not merits. Yes, but only mundane stuff keeping you bound in samsara. Okay. So as Yoshio Sensei says here in page 41, we simply cannot create something in our samsaric and unenlightened mind that can bring us to the Pure Land. Yes, our mind, samsaric minds and the Pure Land have nothing in common. Yes, the only karmic connection that we make with Amida Buddha is through the Nembutsu of faith. And this is what guarantees our enlightenment. Not us, but Amida Buddha working in us through faith, through the Nembutsu of faith, and through the wish of being born in his Pure Land. The three requirements of the Primal Vow, remember, saying Amida Buddha's name, wish to be born in his Pure Land, and have faith in him. Yes. And then Master Shinran says in his Kyogyo Shinsho chapter 6, he says, the true land of bliss is extremely easy to go to because one can attain birth there through the vow power. Okay, so it's easy. It's easy in the sense that everything is done by Amida Buddha. Okay, so this is the wonder of Jodo Shinshu. You don't have to do anything. You just let Amida Buddha do what he knows to do. Yes, it's like I don't know. I always like this example of the boat because or the plane. Imagine someone who has I don't know, who needs a wheelchair. No, this guy that doesn't have even legs to walk, and you have Usain Bolt, which is the fastest man alive. I don't know. It's like an Olympic medalist. No. On the Olympic Games. These guys, of course, are different in terms of, because one is faster than the other, one even can walk and the other cannot. But when you put them on a plane, they both rely on the plane. Yes. Okay. Nobody can fly. So we rely completely on the pilot, on the plane, on the fuel of the plane. So it doesn't have to do anything with us. Yes. Okay. When it comes to transcendental matters, we are all equal. Yes. We are equally foolish. Okay. So we rely completely on Amida Buddha, and it's easy for us. But of course, Amida Buddha worked for these merits many eons. So we should be grateful towards him. Okay. Remember that the Pure Land was not created out of magic. It's not magical thinking. No, Amida Buddha worked many eons to accumulate the merits for us. Okay. So we should be grateful for him. Yes. But in the sense, the hard work is done by Amida Buddha. We just relax and enjoy the ride, as long as we keep these 8 elements of faith. No, this is very important. Okay, another beautiful passage that we have here is also from the Kyogyo Shinsho, and of course Shinran has many passages because this is the center. Remember that this is the center of pure of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. So we should devote many energy and trying to comprehend this. Then Shinran Shonin says, in Kyogyo Shinsho chapter 6, he says, all beings having heard Amida's virtuous name attain joyful faith, rejoice in what they hear and call his name even once. The person of sincerity, Amida, endows merit to them. No? All who aspire for birth in the Pure Land, attain birth in the Pure Land. Hence, I prostrate myself to worship him and aspire to be born there. If not for the Buddha's directing of virtue, how could we realize enlightenment in the Pure Land? So here Shinran is saying, if Amida Buddha had not created the Primal Vow, how could we aspire to go there? Yes, since we are trapped in samsara, trapped in the lower realms, how could we even aspire to develop bodhicitta, to develop the body-mind, to develop the transcendental merits that could lead us to enlightenment if we were able to practice the path of the sages? Yes. But we are not capable of doing that, okay? So we rely completely on the merit of Amida Buddha, okay? Okay, and also another thing that I wanted to end the discussion about the 4th element of faith is another beautiful passage of Honen, which I think is also very important to us. Honen said, if you think that birth in the Pure Land is possible through your own efforts, you will become consumed with conceit that you are wise. When you possess this heart of conceit, you will not be in accord with the Primal Vow, and you will lose the protection of Amida Buddha as well as that of other Buddhas. You are ultimately haunted by malevolent spirits. I here repeat, be vigilant indeed against conceit. Okay, so this is very important. Yes, nobody goes to the Pure Land through their own power. Yes, so this is important. Yes, and we shouldn't be proud. Yes, and I can tell you this from first experience, because remember that I also practiced the Chinese Pure Land tradition. And in the Chinese Pure Land tradition, they have many good masters who have faith in Amida. Yes, of course, they follow other vows. Not only they follow the 19th and the 20th vow, but you see in some of those teachers a lot of arrogance, because they put a lot of barriers, yes, to be born in the Pure Land. They say, oh yeah, you can't be born in the Pure Land if you are pure. You can be born in the Pure Land if you, I don't know, if you complete this retreat in which you say the name of Amida Buddha millions of times. Or you cannot be born in Amida Buddha's Pure Land if you are not vegetarian. Some of these masters, they say these kind of things. Yes, many famous actually. So this is according to Honen, to be ultimately haunted by malevolent spirits, because you are actually trying to create barriers that don't exist between Amida Buddha and sentient beings. Amida Buddha is giving us everything we need in Shinjin. Yes, we just entrust ourselves to him and say his name. But we shouldn't pretend that we go to the Pure Land by any personal merit. We go through the merit of Amida Buddha. Yes, so this is very important.
Yes, humbleness, to be humble in relation with your true capacities is something that comes naturally to people of faith. And by people of faith, I mean people of the faith of the Primal Vow. That's very important. Yes.
Yes, thank you, Sensei. Yes. Do you have something else to say, Sensei or Hosan or Yoshin?
No, just want to say that we are our world, our days, our times are filled with so many people who think they are like Superman, that they can conquer Nirvana, they can conquer the Pure Land, they can transfer their merits, towards this or that, to the enlightenment, to the Pure Land. They really think they have merits. Yes. So they are very much deluded, and they have some kind of arrogance, as you said. Yes.
Sensei.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I wanted to say what Kosho said when he quoted Joshin, by how he said that Shinjin, he's shocked by that because it doesn't affect you when you have Shinjin. Nothing affects you. And that's true. I've experienced this myself. I remember before I received Shinjin, if I was influenced by other various means of other things, then I would immediately fall back to it. But as soon as I attained Shinjin, it's over. And I just look back at myself and say, it's so great that faith comes only from Amida, and that's the truth. And we're constantly influenced by his light and blessed by him, so we can never go back to the wrong path. And for that, I say Namo Amida Butsu in gratitude.
Namo Amida Butsu. We have to mention here that, and I always mention this because many might find an obstacle in this doctrine that faith comes from Amida. So things are very simple, and they should not complicate their minds. It's like when I always use this example. It's like when you need to fix your car, and John, who is a good mechanic, and because you heard that John is a good mechanic, and you saw him repairing other cars, then you trust him. You trust him with your car. This faith that you have in John, this trust in John, actually comes from him, from his personality, from his professionalism, from his dedication. So your faith in John the mechanic comes from John the mechanic himself, because he's a good mechanic. Then he makes you trust in him. It's the same with Amida Buddha. See, this is how we should understand the fact that faith comes from Amida. In this way, it is inspired by Amida. It comes from Amida. Faith is not an intellectual creation. It's not an intellectual conclusion. today our mind can take a decision and later can change. You know, can come today, our mind can come today to a conclusion that it seems logical for her, and then it can change. But Shinjin is not like this. Shinjin is like knowing. You know for sure that Amida can save you. Amida will save you. Amida is assuring you of birth in the Pure Land. You know, just like you trust John the mechanic. You saw him repairing many cars. You know his reputation, and you trust him. You know, that's simple. Okay.
Okay, shall we continue? Or?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you, guys. Okay, Namamida Bu. Okay, the fifth element of faith will be on page 43 in the same book, Meaning of Faith and Nembutsu. So the fifth element of faith is to accept the primal vow of Amida Buddha without any doubt and be sure of your birth in the Pure Land. So basically, is once you have entrusted yourself to Amida Buddha, you know that Amida Buddha will keep his promise. Okay, so you won't be saying, "Oh no, I cannot attain birth in the Pure Land." No, because it doesn't have anything to do with us. Yes, it is about Amida Buddha. So if we trust Amida Buddha, then therefore you know that your birth is a sure thing. Okay, I think this is the very distinctive feature of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. Yes, with regards to other Pure Land schools, I think. Yes, not only Shinjin, but the fact that we don't doubt our birth in the Pure Land. In other Pure Land sects, like for example, in the Chinese Pure Land schools, even in Jodo Shu, many teachers, they are always putting into question that you can or not attain birth in the Pure Land. So they put a lot of stress in Nembutsu or Nienfo, or they say that maybe this day you can, tomorrow, I don't know, keep just practicing, you know. But this kind of thing is unreliable, because that means that you don't have stable faith. Yes. So in Shinran words,
yes,
says,
it means that you rely on your capacity to recite it often or seldom. That you think the Nembutsu can be improved by a so-called quality that can be found in yourself. You know, like how if you can chant it longer times, or if you are more focused, you think this something from your unenlightened mind can improve the chances of Nembutsu, and you don't realize that it is Amida's power who makes the Nembutsu effective. It's Amida power who can take you to the Pure Land, because the Pure Land was created by Amida. So that's very important. They don't have this simple wisdom of Shinjin. Yes.
Yes, and it's so simple that it's elusive. And sometimes people create intellectual games and they say, oh, maybe Nembutsu plus, Nembutsu or Faith plus. No, it's just trust in Amida Buddha. And this is the beautiful thing about Jodo Shinshu, you know? It's simple and yet very
like,
profound.
You know, sorry, it's like being in a plane and you are trying to help the plane fly while you are in the plane. You are going, yes. You go to the to the walls of the plane and you push, and you have and you think that you are helping the plane, or while you are helping the pilot.
Yes, you know, I think Amida Buddha created the 19th vow and 20th vow, and I saw this in a cartoon, I think, in a movie, where there was like a boat, and there is like, for children, there is like a wheel, but it's a fake wheel. Yes, you know, it's for children to think that they can drive, you know, and they put it there for children to play with. Yes, so and actually this is an analogy, because in reality everything is done by Amida Buddha, but Amida Buddha lets other people believe that they can drive the boat, but it's everything done by Amida Buddha.
No, he simply wants to save, to help even those who still cling to their delusional,
Yes.
the delusion of self-power, but he can't help them to be born in the center of the Pure Land. So at least he created a borderland where they can come with their limited faith. See?
Yes. Yes, indeed, Sensei. Yes, it's a you know, a provisional means, yes, for those who still cling to their self-power. But in reality, of course, Amida Buddha's intent is that we realize that everything has been already done by him. No,
We have that borderland because, you know, everything related with Amida salvation is done through the law of karma. Because some people can ask, but why Amida doesn't take everybody to the center of the Pure Land or everybody to the Pure Land just like that? Because he can't. A Buddha can do anything, but he can't do one thing. He can't take you to the Pure Land if you don't want to go there and if you don't enter into perfect karmic relation with him. If you don't allow him to save you, you know, when you think, when you don't want to go there, then he can't take you there. But even when you want to go there, but you don't let him take you, and you still think you can add something, then you create a limitation, a karmic limitation within Amida's salvation. And so Amida can take you to the Pure Land, but not to the center because you imposed that karmic limitation by
yes,
not
Amida,
entrusting to him fully. Yes,
Amida cannot by force you to abandon self-power. He can invite you to do it, but he cannot remove it completely. Yes, if you don't want to. Yes. Okay, Shinran Shonin said, this is on page 43. For those of you studying along with me, watching the video, in page 43, it says, Shinran Shonin said, and this is from the notes on one calling and many callings. He says, Shinjin faith is heeding the vow, the primal vow of the Tathagata and being free of doubt. Yes. He also says, entrusting is to be free of doubt, believing deeply and without any double-mindedness that the Tathagata's primal vow is true and real. And then he also says, hearing the inconceivable selected primal vow and the holy name of supreme wisdom without a single doubt is called true and real Shinjin. It is also called the diamond-like faith. No? And of course, how can something so perfect come from us? So this is the teaching of Shinjin coming from Amida Buddha. And as Yosho Sensei says, it's nothing mystical or obscure about it. It's only that we rely on Amida Buddha because of the power of Amida Buddha. A good analogy that Yosho Sensei gives is the analogy of the mother, the love of a good mother. Yes. So a loving and good mother gives love to his child, but the child loves her back not because he's capable of such a thing, because it is only the mother's love reflected on the child that makes the child want to love her. It's because the mother does everything for his child. No, gives food, clothing, love, care, plays with the child. So the child naturally is attracted to the mother. It's like a magnet. Yes. Okay, so we are attracted to Amida Buddha. We say his name. We have faith in him because of Amida Buddha himself, like a loving mother. This is another analogy. Yes. Okay. Another quote here from Hymns of the Pure Land of the Yoda Wasan of Shinran Shonin. He says that the great sage Shakyamuni teaches that Amida Buddha's land is easy to reach and calls the sentient beings who doubts the Pure Land path a person lacking eyes or lacking ears. Yes. So remember that this primal vow is the ultimate teaching of all Buddhas. Yes. And those who don't want to hear this teaching are people like lacking eyes or lacking ears, lacking good from the past. You know, a good karma from the past. So it's very important for us to understand that faith in Amida Buddha comes from Amida Buddha, as I mentioned as Yosho Sensei mentions in his analogies of the mechanic, John the mechanic or the mother. So remember, whenever you are confused about this Shinjin, this also helped me a lot, because at the beginning I didn't quite understand, oh, this Shinjin coming from Amida Buddha, oh, what is this? No, it's like esoteric Buddhism, but it's actually very simple. Only like the mechanic or like the mother. A mother loving you, just actually it's a consequence of the mother loving you. Okay, so our faith in Amida Buddha is only the echo of Amida Buddha himself in our hearts, in our minds. Okay, so Renio also said, however well you may study the scriptures, it is useless if you are not firmly settled in the faith of other power. If your faith in Amida with the belief that your birth in the Pure Land is settled continues without confusion until death, you will certainly attain birth. Okay, so that means that our certainty of birth that comes from Amida Buddha is what allows us to be born in the Pure Land, is to only accept. Yes, so this is not a feeling, this is not a special state of mind. Yes, It's like when somebody tells you the sky is blue, you will never doubt it. The sky is blue. It's a fact. You know that you are saved by Amida Buddha. Okay? So regardless of how you feel, what you think, or whatever crazy things happen in your mind or your emotions, this doesn't affect your faith, because your faith does not rely on your samsaric personality. It is something that comes exclusively from Amida Buddha, and you just accept it. Okay? So another thing that we should bear in mind is that once we accept that we go to the Pure Land through the power of Amida Buddha alone, yes, then there is no doubt anymore. Yes, you are completely sure that Amida Buddha will take care of you when you leave this physical body, and that's the end of the story. Yes, whenever you find yourself doubting that you will be born in the Pure Land, then it is because you are looking at your own capacities. You are looking at your own karmic darkness and obscurity. Yes, and remember, nobody goes to the Pure Land, especially to the primal body, to the primal vow, through their own personal merits. So, as Renio and Shinran constantly taught us, abandon these thoughts about good and evil, and your own and your good and evil in relationship to the Pure Land. Abandon this and just focus on Amida Buddha. Focus on faith in Amida Buddha and the Nembutsu of faith. Okay. Remember, this is very important. Whenever you find yourself in doubt, this means that you are trying to put yourself on the burden of being born in the Pure Land on some percentage on yourself, like I don't know, like 70% Amida and 20% me, or 5% me. No, it's 0% you and 100% Amida Buddha. The only thing that we are requested to do is to entrust ourselves to Amida Buddha in accordance with the primal vow, and then Amida Buddha will do that do the rest himself. Yes.
Yes. Those who doubt or they are blinded by themselves. They focus too much on themselves and not on Amida. Our focus should be on Amida. We should not let ourselves to be blinded by our so-called merits or.
Yes. Yes, it's like a person. It's like a guy in a wheelchair in a boat saying, "I cannot walk." But it doesn't have to do anything with you. Look at the boat. You see, the boat is taking you through the ocean, not you.
Let these guys take you to the boat. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Sensei. Do you have something else to add, Hosan Sensei?
This is very
Yoshi?
important here. When Shinran says people who say the name in self-power all fail to entrust themselves to Amida's primal vow. As to say the name in self-power means that you think that something from your personality can improve the saying of the name of Amida, that you can contribute with something from yourself to your salvation. That is saying the name in self-power, to think that the often you say it, the more chances you have to be born in the Pure Land. The more focused you are when you say the name, the more chances you have to go there. To think that you have to say the name many times, or to think that you have to say the name while you are ordained, while you are, or that you have to don't get married, to be a monastic without a wife, that adds to the saying of the name, that improves your chances to be born in the Pure Land. These are examples of people who say the name in self-power.
Yes, I just wanted to end this, maybe for future people who are watching the video, is that many people misunderstand Honen, because sometimes people go to Yodoshu, because Yodoshu, and they say, oh yes, Honen told you should say the Butsu many times, but actually Yosho Sensei has a collection of passages, and I will work on the translation of this in Spanish, because it would be a very good book, a correction of these passages, because actually Honen was asked many times about this, and he said, no, it's changing. It's faith in the primal vow that grants you birth in the Pure Land. So don't misunderstand Honen, and don't misunderstand the masters of Shinran and the that they placed. Sometimes you read the passages and they seem to say one thing, but actually you have to understand the complete teaching. Yes. To understand that in reality, we are all born in accordance with Honen Shonin's on the teaching. We are born in the Pure Land through Shinjin. Yes, and actually, according to Shinran, what he was teaching was what Honen taught. Yes, the heart of Honen's teaching was actually Honen.
Yes, sometimes Honen speaks only about saying of the name, while Shinran speaks more about faith, and people misunderstand here. Actually, when Honen speaks about Nembutsu, he speaks about the Nembutsu as an expression of faith, the Nembutsu of faith. And the fact that he says Nembutsu often is not in order to, he didn't say Nembutsu often many times in order to have more chances to be born in the Pure Land, in the Pure Land, but because he liked it, because he enjoyed it. So there is no problem if you say Nembutsu many times, as long as you don't think that the number of recitation improve your chances. But actually, you should enjoy Nembutsu anytime, as many times as you like. You know, just say the name every time. That's okay.
Yes, that's okay. Yes, indeed, Sensei. Okay.
So these guys, masters simply enjoy the name. They found that the name has a very good taste. This is why they said it many times. Yes.
Yes. Should I go to the next element of
Yes.
faith? Okay. All right. So the sixth element of faith, and this one is actually very important, is to accept that birth in the Pure Land of Amida takes place after death. And this element of faith, it says, especially to contrast the ground view that the Pure Land is here and now. Yes. And this is actually explained by Shakyamuni Buddha himself. Yes. So whenever we hear people saying that the Pure Land is in a state of mind, you should just quote Shakyamuni Buddha himself. Yes, saying this. And he said in the larger sutra, however hard you may practice in this life, it can only be for a short while. In this life, in the life to come, you will be born in the land of Amitayus, Amida Buddha, and enjoy endless bliss there. Being forever in accord with the way, you will no longer be subject to birth and death and be free of the afflictions caused by greed, anger, and ignorance. So here, crystal clear, and of course there are many other passages by Shakyamuni Buddha in the sutras, but this one is crystal clear, that he's saying that being born in the Pure Land is to be free of greed, anger, and ignorance. Yes, and in the life to come, how more clear can it get? It's very clear. And if a person claims that he's in the Pure Land, then you should ask him, okay, are you free from greed, anger, and ignorance? Are you a Buddha? Yes. And of course, we know that these people are completely deluded in saying this. Also, Shonin said, when they lay aside their present lives, they will enter into the dwelling of the Buddhas, the Pure Land. Another clear understanding that, of course, according to Shinran, according to Honen, the disciples of Shakyamuni Buddha, yes, they also understood the Pure Land to be a post-mortem, okay, after death, after we leave this physical body. Shinran Shonin also said, at the end of your life, you will enter the family of the Buddhas, that is the Pure Land. Okay, you should just go to the book of Yosho Sensei called The True Teaching on Amida Buddha and His Pure Land. Yes, you can download it for free. Yes, just read the last chapter, the last section, and you will see 20 pages of many passages that describe the true meaning of birth in the Pure Land by many masters, Nagarjuna, Genshin, Honen, Shakyamuni Buddha himself.
And those passages is actually a collection of passages on the true meaning of birth in the Pure Land. Last chapter, as Kosho said in that book. And there you can see you have a collection of passages which show you that birth in the Pure Land takes place after that, and another collection of passages that show you that birth in the Pure Land takes place after that, and it means the attainment of enlightenment. And then more passages who show that birth in the Pure Land equals attainment of perfect enlightenment. So
Yes.
you can't confuse yourself unless you really want to be confused or to confuse others. If you read those passages, you'll clearly see that Pure Land is after the death of this physical body and not here and now. Yes.
Yes, another, if you don't, maybe you don't have so much time, you could just go to Amida Dharma, and you will see there in fascicle 11, I think, one of the fascicles, yes, Yosho Sensei will correct me, there is also just 3 pages of all the a summary of all the enlightened nirvanic capacities that we will have in the Pure Land, and clearly you will see clear as day that we don't have these capacities ourselves now.
Yes, and you can go also to the commentary on the larger sutra in the section where I explain various vows of Amida Buddha himself, in which he promises what qualities, enlightened qualities we will have when we go to the Pure Land. And you can clearly see that you don't have those qualities, enlightened qualities here and now. It's logical. But those guys, those deluded scholars and false teachers do this, promote such misunderstandings that the Pure Land is here and now, because they are materialists and atheists, and because they don't accept life after death. For them, only this life exists, and they want to delete from the Buddha Dharma all references to life after death. But which is crazy, because actually Shakyamuni Buddha told us about enlightenment and the liberation from samsara, and samsara itself means the repeated birth and death.
Yes, and actually these reflections upon death and cyclic existence is what makes us Buddhists in the first place. It's not only for the other
Shakyamuni Buddha said that awareness of death is your best friend on the path. And we have many masters from various traditions who taught about mindfulness of death, you know.
Yes, I only wanted to end. I only wanted to end this this reflection with a beautiful hymn by Master Fa Chao, quoted by Master Shinran, his Kyogyo Shinsho. He says, "When ordinary beings reach the Western land, Amida Buddha's Pure Land, their karmic evils, countless as particles from long past kalpas, will perish. Endowed with the 6 supernatural powers, they attain unrestricted freedom in action. Forever freed of old age and sickness, they are liberated from impermanence." So here we see another beautiful passage in which it says that we will attain the supernatural powers, yes, and our Buddha nature will be revealed. And from the Pure Land, in Sambhogakaya body, in Dharmakaya, and Nirmanakaya, we will be able to benefit countless sentient beings who were in the past our dear mothers, fathers, sons. So all the people in our past life will be able to benefit. Okay.
Yes, so and we are freed of old. When we go to the Pure Land, we are freed of old age and sickness. So can those people who pretend that Pure Land is here and now, why do they get old?
Yes, I think it's very sad, and I must say it. It's pathetic that they are doing this, because actually
they simply refuse. They refuse the words of the masters and of Shakyamuni Buddha. They simply refuse. Don't want to see them.
Yes, at the beginning I was puzzled. Yes, also like Joshin and Hosan, who constantly, we constantly wonder how can these guys be so messed up, so deluded. And
they have this is an evil intention. Actually, it's not just an ignorance.
Yes,
because they know about this. Those scholars and priests who were the Kesa of Nembutsu faith, they know such passages, but they voluntarily ignore them and make others not to see them. They hide those passages, though they have evil intention.
Maybe they are influenced by Maras. We don't know. Could be, no?
I'm sure they are influenced by evil spirits or Maras.
Yes, I think this is possible too. Yes,
because
also
to deliberately hide those teachings, to deliberately ignore them for you and others, that's evil. That's
evil,
not
yes.
Not knowing, being ignorant. Being ignorant is one thing, but to know the teaching and hide it and make others to not see it, that's evil.
Yes, but for all of you who have eyes to see, this is clear as day in the sutras and passages in the works of Yosho Sensei, Shinran. Go to the larger sutra. It will be very clear to you when you see the supernatural capacities that beings have once they reach the Pure Land. So please be sincere and try to go to the masters themselves and to the sutras.
Yes, just reaffirming what you said, knowledge of death is a friend on the Dharma path. I mean, to realize that this is all there is, it is a self-deception. When you think that there is no afterlife, you basically excuse whatever you do or say in this life. And you can distort the Dharma freely, and you can create heresies at random, and because there's no consequence, you just eat shit, die, and then your body rots with the worms. But anyone who is a true follower of Shakyamuni Buddha knows there are many beings, there are many realms, there are many rebirths, and this is undeniable. And this, and getting back to what Kosho said earlier, in my videos, I always am amazed at the fact that in spite of how screwed up I am as a person, I have Shinjin. I do not doubt that. I know where I'm going when I die. There's no doubt. And there's no way I could produce that in my mind with my emotional capacity. It's, I don't know, I just wanted to say that.
Yes. And there is those scholars also suffer from lack of honesty. They should simply accept, look, guys, we are not religious, we are atheists, we don't believe in life after death. Then we should not be here in Jodo Shinshu. We should not wear the robes because we don't believe in the Dharma. Why should we call ourselves Buddhist or Jodo Shinshu Buddhist if we don't believe in the Pure Land? We think the Pure Land is here and now, when the Shakyamuni says no and the master says no. So they are not honest. If they were honest, they would simply go home.
Yes, but instead they
So
are
this is
using...
why I say that is evil. It is pure evil to hide the truth, to hide the Dharma, because you are not able to believe in the Dharma, to accept the Dharma in faith, as Shakyamuni said in the sutra, in the larger sutra.
Yes, thank you for saying that out loud, Sensei, because I had imagined that myself, but I hadn't said it out loud. But I do think that these guys are being influenced by, I don't know, something very, really spooky here. It's happening because, I don't know. It's just my gut. I don't know.
Greatest atrocity in all of this is that you deny people knowledge of Shinjin as being a reality. And in doing that, you rob people of believing in Shinjin as something that they can receive. And as a person of Shinjin, that's unforgivable to me. It just
to officially be part of a religion of simple faith, and to deny the object of faith, then why you are still there, you know? And I know why they are still there, because they want to destroy it, because this is the simplest path, the easiest path toward liberation, and they want to destroy it, or their spiritual boss, or their spiritual bosses, that is maras or various maras or evil spirits that manipulate them, want this path to be destroyed, because otherwise I have absolutely no explanation why they are in an they pretend to be part of a religion of faith but deny the very object of faith, of that faith. It's crazy.
Yes, it's very crazy indeed. Thank you very much for saying all of that, Yoshin, Yosho Sensei, Hosen. Yes, indeed.
I'm saying this out loud for 20 years. This year I make 20. There are 10 to 20 years since I became ordained, and you guys who will also be ordained, you have the duty as ordained people to speak against wrong views and to present the true teaching.
Yes, we have lots of work here because here in Latin America has become like the a place for many heresies coming from Brazil and Argentina.
Yes,
with Yoda
Brazil.
Shinshu here, and actually one of the most famous teachers here from Brazil who recently passed away, he was a Freemason, and he openly rejected all traditional Buddhism,
I
and he
don't
was in
care
favor
what
of.
kind of organizations they are part of, but at least I want them to, I want to see them that they accept the object of faith as being real, that they say Amida is real, the Pure Land is real, that they accept the teaching as it was taught by Shakyamuni and the masters. This is what I want from them, I don't care what secret life they have.
Yes.
But of course, perhaps many such secret organizations have doctrines that are contrary to Buddhism.
No, that is precisely my point. That the thing is that he
Yes.
was preaching Freemasonry. Yes,
Ah.
it was not like a club for him. He was openly saying that Amida Buddha was like a god or something like that, which is terrible.
What was his name?
I forgot.
You
Joao
forget.
Gonçalves.
Joano?
Or Gonçalves was his last name. Yes.
Ricardo or okay.
Maybe you know him, but the thing is that as soon as I discovered that he was preaching this mysticism, esoteric bullshit, I unfriended him on Facebook.
Because they receive, or because nobody cares in Nishi or Higashi Honganji who is the person who is to be ordained, because they don't check their faith, they don't check their understanding, they don't try to see what those people think and what kind of faith they have.
No, they don't care.
And they ordain people like in a factory. They want to have more priests, so they ordain many people without checking their understanding. This is contrary to what we do here at Amida G, where we have these examinations when we have to be certain before ordaining somebody that that person really understands the Dharma. Of course, we can also be fooled, because everybody can be fooled, even us. But at least we try to be sure by having this examination. We are trying our best to have these examinations and these discussions on faith. What is true faith? What is false faith? As Renyo Shonin said, always talk about your faith and the faith of others in terms of right and wrong. This is what we do. So we try to prevent as much as possible people without faith to be part of Amida G or to teach the Dharma at Amida G. But they don't care in Nishi Honganji or Higashi Honganji.
That's the good thing about Amida G, is that we not only teach people what to do, but what not to do, which is something that many temples don't like. They always tell people what to do, but they never prohibit anything.
We don't tell them what to do in their private life, in their bedroom.
Yes.
We just tell them what
in terms
to do
of
from
doctrine.
the dharmic point of view.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Indeed, Sensei.
Because this is what a teacher has to do.
Okay, so I will continue with the seventh element of faith. It would be on page 51. Is to say the name of Amida Buddha, the Nembutsu. Yes. I will just quote Yosho Sensei saying here, because it's explained very clearly. I will just comment afterwards. When one has faith, Shinjin, one is convinced that Amida Buddha and his Pure Land exist, and that the promise he made in his primal vow is true. So he simply entrusts to Amida Buddha and wishes to go to his Pure Land, the Buddha field of Amida after death. Saying Namo Amida Bu often or seldom means exactly this. I entrust to Amida Buddha, I take refuge in Amida Buddha, I wish to go to his Pure Land. It also means, thank you, Amida Buddha, for saving me and taking me to your Pure Land at the end of this physical body. Okay? So the most important thing in the Nembutsu of faith, as it is explained in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, is to say the Nembutsu in a relaxed manner. Yes? Only as an expression of faith and gratitude. Okay? Of course, before attaining Shinjin, it's good that you say the Nembutsu to create a karmic connection with Amida Buddha, but the Nembutsu that we are trying to say is to be absolutely convinced of Amida Buddha, to have a personal relationship with Amida Buddha, and just saying the Nembutsu as an expression of faith. Okay? This is the Nembutsu of faith and gratitude. Shinran Shonin also said Also, the one moment of Shinjin and the one moment of Nembutsu are two. There is no Nembutsu separate from Shinjin, nor is the moment of Shinjin separate from the one moment of Nembutsu. Okay, so when Shinjin comes, yes, naturally the Nembutsu is there. Yes, okay. So the true Nembutsu is the Nembutsu of faith, and true Shinjin expresses itself through the Nembutsu. So it's like a symbiotic relationship between Nembutsu and faith. Obviously, some people say, I love you, or I have gratitude towards you. Maybe they say it more times a day or more times a week, but it doesn't matter as long as the gratitude and the love is there. Yeah? That is the most important thing, the sincerity, okay? It doesn't matter the numbers. So the most important thing is to have faith in Amida Buddha, and once we have this faith, then the Nembutsu will come naturally, yes? It's like being in love. You are in love with somebody, you say you love them, yes? Or like you caught a cold, a flu, and you just cough, as Master Seikaku said. Okay, I've got the cold of the Nembutsu and just cough the Nembutsu. Okay, so just you love Amida Buddha, and then the Nembutsu will come naturally. So you don't have to overthink it. As Yosho Sensei constantly says, enjoy the Nembutsu as much as you want. Yes, say the Nembutsu whenever you want, at whatever place, in the toilet, going to work. Yes. It doesn't matter as long as the Nembutsu is an expression of your simple faith in Amida Buddha. Yes. Renyo Shonin also said here in one of his works, those I have heard from Renyo Shonin, he says, Namo means to take refuge in. It means to entrust yourself to Amida Buddha with the assurance of your salvation. Okay, so the true meaning of the Nembutsu in Jodo Shinshu is the Nembutsu of faith and gratitude. Okay. Also, we see here from the Primal Vow itself in the larger sutra that Amida Buddha said in the Primal Vow, say my name perhaps even 10 times. What that means is that there is not a fixed number to say the Nembutsu, okay? If Amida Buddha wanted a fixed name, he would have said it. I don't know. Say the Nembutsu 60,000 times, and then you will be born the plural. Ah, okay. Okay, so we say the Nembutsu 60,000 times, but this is not what it says in the Primal Vow. The Primal Vow, it only says, say my name perhaps even 10 times, yes? And we see references in the sutras that people who only say the Nembutsu before dying, yes? Or not even saying with the voice, yes? Just thinking about the Nembutsu. So remember, the Nembutsu is not something that has to be specifically mental or specifically out loud or in a particular tone of voice with a particular melody. It doesn't have anything to do with that. It's just saying the name. Thinking about Amida Buddha, saying, I think I'm Namo Amida Butsu, or saying Namo Amida Butsu out loud, soft spoken, it doesn't matter, as long as it is an expression of faith. This is very important.
I want to mention here, this is because Nembutsu is not a mantra. Mantras are given with initiation, with empowerment, and they have to be said in a certain manner. So when if you receive a mantra, you have to pronounce the mantra as your master tells you to pronounce it. It's very important. But Nembutsu can be said in many forms. Namo Amitabha, Namo Amitofo, Namo Amidabutsu, Namo Amidabu, Namo Aidapat, and so on and so on. And in many, and that means that Nembutsu is not a mantra. That's very important.
Yes.
Yes. It's the name to simply say the name. Yes.
As an expression of faith. And also in one of other Yosho Sensei's articles, there is an analogy between Vajrayana and Jodo Shinshu. Yes, it's very different because in Vajrayana, you have to have an initiation for the mantra. So the mantra is charged with the energy of a guru. Yes, so it cannot be said by anybody. In the case of Jodo Shinshu, the one who gives power is Amida Buddha himself. So we don't need any intermediaries. Okay, so there is no intermediary between
mantras.
You
Mantras are also charged with the power of various Buddhas, but they must be received through initiation. So
through a living master, no?
Which is from Avalokiteshvara, the mantra of Avalokiteshvara must be received through initiation. But the name of Amida Buddha is given freely. No initiation, no empowerment, no special state of mind, no special posture when you say it. No no particular time, no special numbers, no you can say it many times or few times. Yes.
Yes, And the beautiful thing about this is because it depends on Amida Buddha. Yes, Amida Buddha
That's
is
why.
who is the
That's
owner.
why there are no conditions, because those if there were conditions, then it meant that the effect, the success of your recitation depended on you.
Mhm.
But because Nembutsu depends on Amida and is effective because of Amida, then there is no need for a special form, special initiation, and so on, an empowerment
Yes.
from a master. Yes.
So why do I say Nembutsu when I'm walking to and from the bus, whenever I wake up, in my mind, aloud or otherwise? Because I want to. Because saying Nembutsu focuses me on Amida. I feel connected to Amida by saying his name, because his name is an expression of himself that he has given to me through Shinju. And this realization is extraordinary. And so it may be Namo Amitofo, Namo Amidabu, Namo Ayidafat, Amitabu. It doesn't really matter. I'm connecting with Amida. And that's the whole point of Nembutsu is I love connecting with Amida. I am eternally connected with Amida.
Yes, it's Amida's gift to you, to all beings. It's the way that we, ordinary unenlightened beings filled of blind passions, can be in communication with Amida. Yes, that's the best way to talk with Amida Buddha, through Namo Amida Bu. You don't need to say to him many other things, many other words, because he knows you. He already knows your situation. So just say Namo Amida Bu. That's enough, you know. Yes.
I was a Christian, I had to word my prayers very carefully so that God would be very specific in the blessings he gave me. Amida Buddha knows me inside and out far better than I could ever know myself. It would be absurd for me to have to explain to him like he was a child what I needed best in my life. So I just say, Namo Amida Bu, guide me, Amida. I entrust myself to you.
Yes. When you have faith in Amida, in accordance with the primal vow, you are connected to Amida. So Amida Buddha can influence you in many ways that are beneficial to you and to others who may come in contact with you. Yes. Good.
Okay. So the most important thing is Shinji, no, and not being obsessed with the numbers, and this is said by Shinran himself. Yes, I will just quote Shinran here real quick in page 53 of the book, and this is from notes on descriptions of sacred roles. He says, saying my name perhaps even 10 times. Here Shinran is referring to the primal vow. In encouraging us to say the name that embodies the vow, the Tathagata, Amida, added perhaps even to the words 10 times to show that there is not a set number of times the name must be said, and to teach sentient beings that there is no determined hour or occasion for saying it. Since we have been given this vow by the Tathagata, we can take any occasion in daily life for saying the name and need not wait to recite it at the very end of life. Okay? So this is very important. So the Nembutsu is a gift to us, yes? And this gift can be enjoyed at any time, yes? And the most important thing is to have this relationship with Amida Buddha because we are assured of salvation at the end of life. So we celebrate this relationship with Amida Buddha in any circumstance that we find ourselves in, okay? Okay, so I think that this is very clear. Of course, and this is the passage that I was mentioning about Honen Shonin, no? He was asked, which is superior in merit, a mere single utterance of Nembutsu or 10 repetitions of Nembutsu? And he said, they have the same merit with regard to birth in the Pure Land. The number of recitation is not the issue. The merit of birth in the Pure Land is equal, as it is clearly stated in the Primal Vow. How can there be any doubt? Okay, so the merit of being born in the Pure Land is the merit of Amida Buddha transferred to us in the form of the trust we have in him. Yes, and remember, Shinjin is the most important thing because many people in these temples that we have talked about with false teachers, they say the Nembutsu. Yes, but this is false Nembutsu. Why? Because they don't believe in Amida Buddha, they don't believe in the sutras, they don't have faith, true faith in Amida Buddha. Whereas whenever there is Shinjin, there is always the true Nembutsu. Okay, So Shinjin is like the seed from which the true Nembutsu arises. No, we could say like this. Okay. Master Seikaku also has wonderful explanations. If you want to further your understanding of the subject, just please read this section of the book of Yosho Sensei, because there is a very big passage of Master Seikaku explaining this very stupid controversy between people who say, oh, you can only be saved if you say the name of Amida Buddha many times. Or there is also the extreme view of people who say that you should only say it once in your life and prevent yourself from saying the name, like reprimand yourself. A bad kosho, you said the name more than once. And this is also stupid. Yes, you should just be relaxed, no, and do as Renio and Shinran and Hone, and just say the name in a relaxed manner and trusting in yourself, yes, and not being like these crazy guys who want to say the name millions of times and others who reprimand themselves. No, just say it and just enjoy your relationship with Amida Buddha, as Yoshin said and as Yosho Sensei said. Okay, so let's go now with the last element. And this is also, I mean, all the elements are important. And I'm very grateful for these elements because they are so important that they are present in the logo of Amida. They are in our crest. So these are the very...
we consider it is very important to they are very important, especially for our days when we have so many heresies and so many wrong views promoted as Jodo Shinshu. This is why we, Amida-ji, have this unique aspect, this unique attitude that we explained faith in these 8 elements, which are actually which are actually based on the very words of Shakyamuni and Shinran and all the masters. But the way to do this is specific to Amida-ji.
Yes.
While the passages on which we rely are found in the sutras and the sacred texts.
Yes, of course,
So
these 8
we
elements...
do not invent anything.
Yes, these 8 elements is not like an invention, but it's something like a summary, a guide, yes, for us.
And like a pedagogical manner, you know, in which to explain faith. Yes.
Yes, so it's very good for us to focus on these elements of faith, and of course the lifeblood of these elements is the sutras themselves and the words of Shinran and Honen. So it's very important for us to understand that, and of course as long as these 8 elements are there, of course there is hope for this lineage of Amida-ji. So I hope that if maybe who knows in the future, if you're watching this, please hold on to the 8 elements.
Yes.
Of faith.
These 8 elements should not scare anybody because they come naturally to a person of faith.
Yes.
We use this phrase, the 8 elements, and we divide and we make these explanations in 8 parts as a pedagogical method, you know, as a way to explain the Dharma so that people can better understand it. People can better understand what is faith.
Yes, and this is clearly also explaining Amida Dharma. And of course, if you have simple faith in Amida Buddha, everything that we are explaining here will be natural to you. Well, of course, Amida Buddha is real. Of course, the Nembutsu is relaxed. So it shouldn't be scared. However, it's very good to have this, especially in our days, as Yosho Sensei says, because there are many heresies nowadays. Okay, and the last element of faith is also to contrast a very modern heresy, yes, is not to mix Nembutsu and devotion towards Amida Buddha with other faiths and practices from inside or outside the Buddha Dharma. Okay, so basically what this amounts to is not combine the Nembutsu with other Dharma gates. First of all, with other Dharma gates, not with Zen, not with esoteric Buddhism, not with Tantric Buddhism, okay? So first of all, the Nembutsu is a path that should be followed based on its own parameters. It's very important. And the other thing is not to combine the Nembutsu of faith or the Primal Vow with other religions that are outside of Mahayana Buddhism, like, for example, Christianity, Taoism, or whatever other worldly philosophy or other samsaric religion or religion outside of the Buddha Dharma. Okay, let's go in and quote this passage here. This passage is from the Kyogyo Shinsho, chapter 6. It says, based on the true intent of the Buddha's teaching and the expositions made and transmitted by the masters of the past, I will clarify that the path of sages is provisional and the Pure Land path is true, and caution people against non-Buddhist teachings which are perverted, false, and wrong. So here, this is a very powerful passage, because here Shinran is saying, okay, do not combine the primal vow. First of all, do not combine it with other Dharma gates. And the other second thing you should bear in mind, says Shinran, do not combine it with other non-Buddhist teachings, which according to Shinran are perverted, false, and wrong. Yes. So
Shinran
here
was very much not politically correct.
Yes. That what I was about to say, that he was not into pleasing people. Yes. Imagine
Yes.
how many people heard this and say, oh, so Shinran is not here to make me smile. No, Shinran only cares about the true Dharma. That is why he's the good teacher that we trust. Yes. And any good Dharma teacher will always say things that will not please you. Yes. And this is very important, because nowadays, let me tell you, let me tell you that I experienced this in first hand. You know, normally you go even to other Pure Land temples, and people are always smiling because they are never told what they shouldn't do. Yes, and we should be very clear about what we believe in. Yes, and here clearly Shinran is saying that other paths outside of Buddhism, they are perverted, false, and wrong. Yes, and of course this makes sense based on the teaching of Shakyamuni Buddha. If you follow samsaric beings that are not Buddhas, you will end up in samsara. Therefore, this is false and wrong and perverted. Why perverted? Because this will lead you again to the lower realms eventually. Okay, so this is a teaching that only lead to suffering. Yes, the only teaching that can guide you towards Buddhahood is Buddhism. Yes, the teachings of the Buddhas. This absolutely makes sense. Yes, so whenever you hear people saying that it doesn't matter, you know, Christ or Buddha, and they are saying that the Buddhas are equal with other prophets, just abandon the room and go the other way, because these people are trying to fool you. Yes, they are trying to pull the wool out of your eyes. So very important to understand that the Buddhas did not describe themselves as any other prophets. They said Buddhas are above samsara. If you say Shakyamuni Buddha described himself as a being that is above the gods, above humans, so he was not just another guy. Yes, according to themselves, at least you should give the benefit of a doubt. Yes, how do the Buddhas describe themselves? Yes, the Buddhas describe themselves as lotuses above samsara, so they are above the gods, above human beings. So this is must be clearly understood. And above all the myriad of Buddhist teachings, we should focus on the primal vow of Amida Buddha. This is what Shinran Shonin is saying here.
About what you said, I would like to mention what how Buddha Shakyamuni described himself. He said in the Lotus Sutra, the Buddha is the father of the world. All living beings are my sons. All is my domain. All is my domain. And I alone am able to save and protect them. Yes, and I have many passages like this in an article that I will place on as a link in the description. Many passages like this. He's also the Lotus Sutra. Lord Buddha is the holy king, king among the gods. Is the savior of all, and so on. And he also says, Buddha says about himself that there is nothing to be discovered above what he already discovered, and so on. You know, there are many passages where Buddha speaks about his attainment, and he says, for example, in Majjhima Nikaya, I am one who has transcended all. I am a knower of all. He says, I am the teacher supreme. I alone am the fully enlightened one, whose fires are quenched and distinguished. Yes. So this is very important. Buddha Shakyamuni, Buddha speaks about Buddhas as being supreme because he wanted people to entrust to him, to entrust to his teaching. That's why, not because he wants to praise himself. Here Buddha is speaking the truth. He's not just an ordinary guy who with big ego. No, he's just saying the truth about the state of Buddhahood, about what a Buddha is, in order
Yes.
to make people entrust to him and follow his path. Yes.
Yes,
There
and
are many
actually,
passages like this.
and actually there are many Buddhist art is also very pedagogical, because we see many deities praising the Buddha. So he's also the
Yes.
teacher of the gods. Okay, so the Buddha is not like a heavenly being. Many people misunderstand this. So the Buddha is not an angel or something like that. He's above all of that. Okay, and we shouldn't, of course, when we take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and this is very much clear. If you are a member of Amida Ji, you remember what is the meaning of taking refuge. Yes, taking refuge is not something like a ritual that you do like out of the blue. As it is explained here in page 62 of the book that we are studying, The Meaning of Faith and Nembutsu, it says in the Sutra of the Samadhi of all the Buddha's presence, it says, take refuge in the Buddha yourself, take refuge in the Dharma, take refuge in the Sangha. Do not serve other teachings. Do not worship the devas. Do not enshrine spirits. Do not heed days considered lucky. Further, it states, must not worship devas or enshrine spirits. Okay? So as Buddhists, we only should rely on the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and do not follow any other superstitions like tarot, magic. All of that should be out of the question, and we shouldn't worship any other deities. Only Buddhas and great Bodhisattvas we should honor. And in our case, we only we only follow the primal vow of Amida Buddha. And when we follow the primal vow of Amida Buddha, we are actually fulfilling the deepest desires of all the Buddhas in the 10 directions. Okay, so it's very, very important for us to understand this. According to the 17th vow, all the Buddhas want us to be born in the Pure Land. Why? It's because they all want the same, it's for us to attain Buddhahood as soon as possible. And if we entrust ourselves according to the primal vow, then we are fulfilling the wishes of all Buddhas. Okay, so only saying Amida Buddha's name, only wishing to be born in his Pure Land, and only having faith in him. And when we see other bodhisattvas or Buddhas, we can happily worship them saying Namo Amida Bu. Okay, so it's very important for us to understand this. If you see
when we say Namo Amida Bu and we worship Amida Buddha, we automatically worship all Buddhas. So we don't need to focus on each Buddha. But when we meet a statue of other Buddhas, we can bow and say Namo Amida Bu.
Yes. Okay, so we don't need to go, I don't know, there are many temples in Mahayana that have 10,000 Buddhas. We can say Namo Amida Bu to all of them if we want. Or in our altar, of course, the center should be Amida Buddha, always. Okay, this is very, very important indeed, Sensei. Okay, another passage. Another thing about the exclusivity of Nembutsu, it can be found in page 63. This is Faihonen Shonin. He says, with your whole heart, look forward expectantly to birth in the Pure Land. Worship and bear in mind the Buddha of infinite light, Amida Buddha, and don't think about anything else, nor perform any other spiritual practices. This is very important, yes? There is a lot of influence nowadays from Vajrayana Buddhism in many branches of Buddhism, and many people, for example, when they are sick, they seek one Buddha. When they want, I don't know, a happy marriage, they go to another bodhisattva, and that is good in that tradition. So they have many variety of practices. Yes, Jodo Shinshu is very simple. We only say the Nembutsu and we don't combine it with any other spiritual practice. And why? Okay, first of all, because it was mentioned in the primal vow. Yes, and we are followers of the primal vows, so we only focus on that practice. Yes, okay, we say it is not even a practice because, of course, it is Amida Buddha's power, but we only endeavor in the Nembutsu of faith. And the second thing is because if you have true faith in Amida Buddha, then you won't feel the need to do anything else. This is very important. Yes, if you truly understand what you are saying with your lips and the true meaning of faith and Nembutsu in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, yes, then you will be more than happy just to devote yourself to Nembutsu and you won't seek anything else. It's like a person who is well fed, no? You have enough meals, you don't feel the need to go in other restaurants. You know where your true fidelity lies, yes? Okay, so it's very important for us to understand this. Renio Shonin also said this. It's like Merwin, yes? Like a good wife won't take a second husband, says Renio. It's a very simple analogy. Okay, so if you are married to the primal vow, then you won't be seeking any other practice because you will be automatically spiritually fulfilled with Amida Buddha. Okay, so if you feel the need to do other practices, it means that you still don't have the Shinjin, and you should deeply listen to the Dharma and understand why Amida Buddha's primal vow is sufficient. Yes, and doesn't need any other auxiliary practices. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yes, and there is no need to practice other practices in Buddhism because the name of Amida Buddha contains the merits of all practices. So, and I have many passages on this, and I will put link in the description. Honen Shoni speaks about this a lot, about the merits of the name of Amida Buddha, Shinran too. So when you say the name of Amida Buddha, the name of Amida Buddha contains the merits of Amida and all Buddhas and all practices. So when you say the name in faith, the name of Amida Buddha in faith is like you say all the mantras, all the dharanis of the Buddha Dharma. Like you practice everything in the same time when you say the name. That's the effect. That's why when you say the name in faith, even once, you are assured of birth in the Pure Land. That's why we enter into the stage of non-retrogression so easily. Why is that? Because the name of Amida, when it's said in faith, the name of Amida Buddha contains the merit, the infinite merits of all practices. That's why it's so easy. And people often ask why it's so easy. Because it contains the merits of all practices. Yes.
Yes, we should remember that Amida Buddha also, when he was practicing according to the larger sutra, he improved the qualities of the Pure Lands and the methods of salvations of all the Buddhas. So we can assume that he also received the blessings of all Buddhas. So remember that all Buddhas work as a team. Yes. And Amida Buddha's name contains all the blessings of all the Buddhas as well. Yes, this is very important to understand.
The fact they actually praise him.
Praise him.
You know, they praise him. They give him homage. So that's even higher than that. So yes, it's when all Buddhas praise the name of one Buddha, that should make you think that
why
Buddha has the best
best method.
The best method. Yes.
I only wanted to share this passage because I found it here. It's so powerful, this passage, so I wanted to share it with the viewers. It says here, Honen Shoni, no? Speaking about the merits of Amida Buddha's name, he says, the merit of the inner realization of Tathagata Amida and his external activities, as well as the merits of Buddha Shakyamuni's extremely profound teachings, which are as numerous as the grains of the sand in the Ganges. Why? Because all of the merits of the teachings, the meditative practices on the phenomenal aspects of reality and the noumenal principle, the unmatched power acquired through meditation and wisdom, the wisdom of inner realization and the merit of external activities, as well as all of the virtues and undefiled enlightenment of Tathagata Amida, Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva Mahastamaprapta, Bodhisattva Samantabhadra, Bodhisattva Manjushri, Bodhisattva Kishitigarba, Bodhisattva Nagarjuna, and the Bodhisattvas and Eshwaravakas of the Pure Land are encompassed in the three characters of the name of Amida, Amida. So imagine that. So what we are saying with our lips is the most powerful name of all Buddhas, okay? And it contains the blessings and the power of all Buddhas combined. Yeah? No wonder, yes, and this can be found here in this book if you are more interested in this, in the chapter called the name of Amida Buddha is the great practice. And there are many other passages by that Yosho Sensei quotes by the masters of China, the Jodo Shinshu Patriarchs, and Shakyamuni Buddha himself. Also in the larger sutra.
There is a chapter, the Nembutsu is true and real, in the book on simple teachings on emptiness and Buddha nature, where I give even more passages and more explanations of the name of Amida Buddha. And I even use quotations or explanations from Kobo Daishi, for example, from Shingon.
Shingon
So
Buddhism.
there are many explanations.
Yes.
on-
So yes. So the conclusion is that the name of Amida Buddha is not lacking anything. It has everything there. Yes. The thing is that if you believe in it, yes, in order to receive this faith, as Renio Shonin says, keep listening to the teaching one and time again, and then through the great compassion of Amida Buddha, the Shinjin will be given to you. Yes, this is what Renio said, and also Shinran. So remember, only by listening to the teaching many times will you be able to finally get this one moment of Shinjin. Yes, Amida Buddha will give you through his great compassion Shinjin. Okay. All right. So there it ends the explanation that we have of the 8 elements of faith. The so-called exclusion in the primal vow. And remember that part verbatim of the primal vow says the following: excluded are those who commit the 5 grave offenses and those who slander the right dharma. Okay. So just as a reminder of the rest of the primal vow, we covered if when I attain Buddhahood, sentient beings of the 10 quarters or the 10 directions who sincerely entrust themselves to me, desire to be born in my land and say my name perhaps even 10 times, should not be born there, may I not attain supreme enlightenment. All of these we have explained already. What it means to when I attain Buddhahood, the beings in the 10 quarters, what is faith, what is to entrust, what is to say Amida Buddha's name, what is to desire to be born in his pure land, all of that. But then at the end, there comes a very troublesome or so-called troublesome passage, because if we read it at first glance, it sounds like an exclusion, but it isn't. Yes, it says excluded are those who commit the 5 grave offenses and those who slander the right dharma. So what is this? So as Yosho Sensei puts it here in his explanation, when you read this passage, when you read the first part of the primal vow, you feel okay. You say, oh, nice, I'm Amida Buddha, no? So you introduce yourself, but you see the exclusion passion, the exclusion passage, and you are like, well, what is happening here? Like, so there are some conditions, no? But actually, it has to be explained, because actually Amida Buddha doesn't exclude anybody, even if you commit the 5 grave offenses.
So what are the characteristics of slandering the right dharma? So the answer is saying there is no Buddha, no Buddha dharma. As you said, when you say saying no bodhisattva dharma, deciding on such views, whether through understanding those in one's mind or receiving the ideas from others, is called slandering the right dharma. There are many aspects of this slandering the dharma. First and foremost, it is presented as saying there is no Buddha, to deny the existence of Amida Buddha, to deny the existence of his pure land, to call those things a metaphor, a myth, and so on, to call Amida Buddha a fictional character. That means to slander the right dharma. But of course, if you persecute Buddhism and you speak against Buddhism, saying that there is no Amida Buddha, then you are also slandering the Dharma. Yes. If you are trying to destroy Jodo Shinshu Buddhism by any means, then you are also slandering the Dharma.
In Jodo Shinshu, of course, these wrong views are very prevalent, and this is considered a grave offense, no? To distort the teachings of the larger sutra, to distort the teachings of Shinran, and of course to deny that the larger sutra is a true Mahayana teaching, yes, and that Amida Buddha is a real Buddha. This is of course very important, and of course as we in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism we believe that the primal vow is the highest teaching of all Buddhas. So for us, this is this is the most terrible thing, because this is the most universal way to save sentient beings, and the most comprehensive and powerful method to bring sentient beings towards enlightenment.
As you know, we explain at Amida-ji the difference between the 5 grave offenses and the slandering the right dharma. So I will ask you to explain, based on our Amida-ji teaching, why those who commit the 5 grave offenses can actually are actually not excluded from
yes.
Amida salvation, and why those who slander the right Dharma self-exclude from the salvation. So please
Yes.
explain these differences.
Yes, yes, Sensei. Yes, I was going there. Basically, what we can see here in Shinran, let me quote Shinran here. I was about to quote him. Shinran says in the Tanisho, if it were only by observing precepts and upholding rules that we should entrust ourselves to the primal vow, how could we ever gain freedom from birth and death? Okay, so this is what is what Shinran says. In the primal vow, there is no mention about you being good, you are being evil, you fulfilling anything. Okay, so the primal vow cannot contradict itself. Okay, that is the main point. All beings who entrust themselves to Amida Buddha, say his name, and wish to be born in the Pure Land, regardless of their good and evil, can go to the Pure Land. Actually, in the Contemplation Sutra, we see that beings who expressly explain in the sutra, who commit the 5 grave offenses, go to the Pure Land. So how can we say this? It seems contradictory, but this is not contradictory.
Go to the Pure Land if they entrust to Amida Buddha.
If they entrust themselves to Amida
So
Buddha.
all sinners actually go to the Pure Land if they entrust to Amida Buddha, but those who slander the right Dharma can't go. So why?
Yes, yes. Those who slander the right Dharma can go, because those who slander the right Dharma, they deny the existence of Amida Buddha, and they deny the Pure Land. So how could they wish to go to a place that they themselves deny? You see? So actually, it's very logical, and this is explained by Master Tanluan. Let me please find the explanations of Master Tanluan. Actually, in the Kyogyo Shinsho, in chapter 3, it says the following. This is in page 85 in the Meaning of Faith and Nembutsu. It says, question. The Sutra of Immeasurable Life states, those who aspire for birth in the Pure Land are all brought to attainment of birth in the Pure Land. Excluded are those who commit the 5 grave offenses and those who slander the right Dharma. The Sutra of Contemplation on the Buddha of Immeasurable Life states. This is what I was talking about the Contemplation Sutra. He says, those who have committed the 5 grave offenses and the 10 transgressions and who are possessed of various evils also attain birth in the Pure Land. Yes. So how are those 2 sutra passages to be reconciled? So the answer is very masterful. It says, the first sutra, the larger sutra, speaks of committing 2 kinds of evil acts, the 5 grave offenses and the slander of the right Dharma. Because of committing both these 2 kinds of evil acts, a person is unable to attain birth. The other sutra speaks only of committing the evil of the 10 transgressions and 5 grave offenses. Nothing is said of slandering the right Dharma. Because a person has not slandered the right Dharma, then he attains birth. Of course, if he follows the requirements of the Primal Vow and trusts himself to Amida Buddha, says his name and wishes to be born in the Pure Land. Okay, so not slandering the right Dharma is that he considers this sinner, we sinners, yes, however we don't fulfill any moral duties, yes, and we are not dedicating personal merit because we consider ourselves to be evil and foolish. However, we still believe in Amida Buddha as a real enlightened being. We know that the Pure Land is a real enlightened place, and we say the name of Amida Buddha in faith, and we wish to be born there. Yes, okay. But if you slander the Dharma, you are self-excluding yourself. So you are excluding yourself from salvation of Amida Buddha. Amida Buddha is not excluding you. Yes, you are excluding yourself. Why? Because you are not believing in the Dharma. You are calling the Dharma worthless. You are calling Amida Buddha a symbol. You are calling the Pure Land a state of whatever. Yes. So you actually don't have faith. Okay. But it's not, if you don't have faith in Amida Buddha and you consider Amida Buddha to be a person like Hamlet or like a Pinocchio or whatever person in some
character.
A fictional character, then why would you want to be born there? It's like, for example, I am a big Harry Potter fan. I like Harry Potter. Yes, I love it. It entertains me. However, I don't say I wish to go to Hogwarts. No, because I know Hogwarts is an invented place. You see, so it's not logical. Okay, and this is explained
So you can't,
masterfully.
Yes, you can't be saved by somebody in whose existence you don't believe.
Yes.
And you can't go to a place that you deny also its existence, you know?
Yes, of course, it's logical, no? And actually, I want to quote here Master Tanluan. Just give me a second, okay? Because there are many pages. This explanation of Yoshio Sensei is quite detailed. Here it is. Yes. This is from Master Tanluan, quoted by Shinran. Yes. They say, further, the right Dharma refers to the Buddha Dharma. Yes. Such ignorant persons have slandered it, those who slander the Dharma. Therefore, it does not stand to reason that they should seek birth in that Buddha land, does it? Okay. So this is Master Tanluan saying it, our own lane of reasoning, okay? If you are logical, yes, and you have two eyes to see, you will see that if you don't believe in Amida Buddha, so why would you want to be born in the Pure Land of someone that you believe to be a fictional character? So this is the only exclusion. So actually, if you think about it, the only exclusion in the Primal Vow is the self-exclusion of those who don't believe in Amida Buddha and the Pure Land, which is logical, okay? The other exclusion, and I will talk about this exclusion on moral grounds of the other part of the exclusion that talks about killing one's father and killing one's mother, or those who have in the past slandered the Dharma. Yes, I will try to quote here the passages. This is the passage of the Contemplation Sutra. Okay, so he's talking about the lowest kind of being, no? So when he's about to die, says here Shakyamuni Buddha in the sutra, he may meet a good teacher who consoles him in various ways, teaching him the wonderful Dharma and urging him to be mindful of the Buddha, Amida Buddha, but he's not tormented by pain to do so. The good teacher then advises him, if you cannot concentrate on the Buddha, then you should say that you take refuge in the Buddha of immeasurable life, say Namo Amida Bu. In this way, he sincerely and continually says, I take refuge in the Buddha of immeasurable life, Namo Amida Butsu, yes, or Namo Amitofo, whatever, 10 times or less. Because he calls the Buddha's name, with each repetition, the evil karma that would bind him to birth and death for 80 kotis of kalpas is extinguished. When he comes to die, he sees before him a golden lotus flower like the disk of the sun, and in an instant he is born within a lotus bud in the land of utmost bliss. No? So
that is the case of a person who committed the 5 grave offenses,
yes,
and who entrusts to Amida Buddha, and he goes to the Pure Land.
Yes. So as Yoshio Sensei says here, we should look to the above passage as a proof, and this is a scriptural proof from the sutras, that those who did the 5 grave offenses are not really excluded from Amida's salvation. So then the question is, why then this is exclusion is? So as Yoshio Sensei points here, this is like a warning from a mother, yes, to some crazy kids that don't behave, and they tell them, for example, I don't know, if you don't stop eating the candy when I say not to want to do it, then I will punish you, or I will not love you again, okay? Something like this. But of course, the mother is not meaning those words. It's trying to convince the baby or the kid to behave, yes? Okay, in trust to Amida Buddha, I will take care of you, doesn't matter what you do, but however, please try to avoid doing this because this is very grave, okay? So Amida Buddha is, of course, a Buddha, and he has perfect wisdom and compassion, but he doesn't want that his disciples misinterpret his teaching and they start to behave in bad manners or try to are committing these evil actions. Even though that Amida Buddha has indiscriminate salvation, as Shinran says, if you have the antidote, okay, don't try to drink poison on purpose. So on purpose is the key here, okay?
So Amida Buddha is trying to tell us that the fact that he saves us as we are doesn't mean that he agrees with our evil actions, and doesn't mean that he wants us to do those evil actions.
Yes, so this is very logical as well, if you think about it, okay? So what we should understand from here is that this exclusion is like a kind and compassionate warning that Amida Buddha wants us to try to behave in a moral manner, and especially try to avoid these 5 grave offenses, especially the ones about killing your mother or father and all of that. Okay, but the only true exclusion, yes, so-called allegedly, is the self-exclusion, which is not related to Amida but to us. Yes, in the sense that if we deny Amida Buddha, the object of our reverence and faith, and the place where we want to be born, then there is nothing to talk about. Then close the book and then find another religion or whatever, yes, and sink into samsara, basically. Okay, but the thing is, if you truly want to be born in the Pure Land, doesn't matter your own evil actions, and because it is expressly said here in the Contemplation Sutra, yes, and in other passages of the masters, that it doesn't matter how evil your evil karma is. And even if you slander the Dharma in the past, if you repent, and this is very important, it's not like if you slander the Dharma, then you are automatically condemned. Yes, and then Yosho Sensei gives the beautiful passage of Shakyamuni Buddha that somebody who was speaking very insulting Shakyamuni Buddha, no, one day, and he was even I think he even spat at him. Yes, so it was very rude to Shakyamuni Buddha. Shakyamuni Buddha, of course, didn't do anything because he has perfect compassion. But the other day, the person was changed. And he said, oh, no, Shakyamuni Buddha is the Buddha. So he repented before the Buddha. He said, I apologize for what I did yesterday to you. I'm very sorry. And Shakyamuni Buddha says, get up. The person who is now before me is different from the person who slandered me yesterday. Okay. So what this proves is that if you repent of your actions, you are actually a new person. Okay. Okay. For example, in the past, I didn't used to be Buddhist, or I used to believe only in Theravada Buddhism, for example. Yes. So maybe I consider to be a person who used to slander the Dharma, but I'm no longer that. I now believe in the Mahayana Sutras and now believe in Amida Buddha. Okay. So if you maybe were part of other traditions or other religions, or even deny the Mahayana Sutras, but now you repent from that and you entrust yourself to Amida Buddha, then it's like a clean slate. Yes. If you repent from that, yes, and you say Namo Amida Buddha, then this slandering of the Dharma is something from the past. It doesn't belong to your present. Okay, so this is very important to understand, because many people might misunderstand this and say, you have done this once and then you are condemned for life. This is superstitious thinking. Okay, because it's not taking into consideration the law of cause and effect. If you change your mentality, yes, and you entrust yourself to Amida Buddha, then your past is your past. Okay.
Yes, and the person who has true faith in Amida Buddha, he cannot slander the Dharma at the present time when he has faith.
Why? Because of the influence of Amida Buddha, of course. Yes, because if you
entrust a person who has faith automatically accepts the existence of Amida Buddha and his Pure Land, and so he will go to the Pure Land. No matter that in the past, when he didn't have faith, he might have slandered the Dharma. But now in the present, he has faith. And the present, when he has faith, that is all that matters.
Yes, this is very important for us to understand. Because if you have repented, then you automatically entrust yourself to Amida Buddha and receive the gift of Shinjin. And of course, as we have explained already, Shinjin comes from Amida Buddha himself. So it is perfect on itself. It's the perfect trust in the other Amida Buddha, in the other power. And the other thing that we should understand is that denying the object of our reverence, yes, is of course nonsensical for a Jodo Shinshu Buddhist. That is why we will never understand those who claim to be Jodo Shinshu followers and still deny the object of their reverence and faith. Yes. So this is the only self-exclusion that those who slander the Dharma and keep doing it, of course, until the end of their lives, because I hope, I really pray for this, that this is the deluded scholars, maybe at the end of their life, they'll say, oh, maybe I committed a mistake. Amida Buddha is true, and they entrust themselves. Even them, at the very end of their life, they could go to the Pure Land if they only entrusted themselves to Amida Buddha. I would say maybe this is for them to decide, yes? But according to their
what I hope that Alfred Bloom, for example, who died some years ago, did on his deathbed. Perhaps when when he was approaching death, he changed his mind and he's entrusted to Amida Buddha. This is what I hope that the late Reverend Fons Martens from GCOG Belgium, who clearly denied during his lifetime the existence of Amida Buddha in his Pure Land, to whom I often counteracted in many conferences in Europe. I hope that on his deathbed, because he also died a few years ago, on his deathbed, he changed his mind, had a change of heart, and entrusted to the real Amida Buddha, and wanted to go to the real Pure Land of Amida Buddha. Yes, and as you said, if he attained faith on that very moment of dying, then all his karma of slandering the right dharma was extinguished, just like that.
Let's really hope so, for the sake of their stream of consciousness, that they develop this faith. No, Amida Buddha's exhortation, or let's say teaching, is very logical. He's only saying, okay, please don't deny me, because if you deny me, then I won't be able to save you. Yes, so it's like it's logical, no? But many people complicate their minds, and then when they see this, and they for example, I am telling you this from experience. When I used to follow the 19th vow in the Chinese Pure Land school, some of the teachers there put a lot of emphasis in morality. Oh yeah, you have to be pure to be born in the Pure Land. Look at the Primal Vow; it says that you have to not commit the evil, and they complicate, no? And they're creating fictional barriers between Amida Buddha's light and those to be saved. Okay, in Jodo Shinshu is very beautiful because we don't have any of those barriers. We only entrust ourselves to Amida Buddha, and we know that Amida Buddha loves us and has compassion for us unconditionally, regardless of the evil and good, on the things that we can or cannot do, as long as we don't slander the right dharma. So I think that the most important conclusion here is that everybody is accepted, yes, as long as they don't slander the dharma. This is why so much emphasis is put by Shinran and Renyo in not distorting the teaching, not distort the teaching. Okay.
And about the 5 grave offenses, the sutras can't contradict each other. So in the larger sutra, Amida says excluded are those who slander the right dharma, and the contemplation sutra we see that those who made the 5 grave offenses are saved, and they go to the Pure Land if they entrust to Amida Buddha. So this is why we logically conclude that the exclusion of so-called exclusion of those who do the 5 grave offenses is not a real exclusion, but just Amida Buddha saying, I don't like you to do that. The fact that I'm saving you doesn't mean that I agree with your sins, and saving you as you are is not an encouragement to do evil. This is what Amida says, because otherwise why the contemplation sutra says that those who did the 5 grave offenses are saved, go to the Pure Land, but the exclusion sentence, the slandering of the right dharma remains as an exclusion in all sutras, in all the 2 sutras. Why? Because those who deny the existence of Amida self-exclude. That's why. So please, I hope you understood, Joshin and Hoza.
Yes.
And please go to the article, to the chapter in the book,
the meaning of faith.
The meaning of faith and Embutsu, but also in the commentary on the larger sutra section on the vows, because there I give a more detailed and expanded explanation of the slandering of the right dharma, where I also include what Kosho also said, that to deny the Mahayana sutras also means the slandering the right dharma, because as Honen says, Honen also mentioned that if you deny Mahayana sutras, let's say that you accept larger sutra, but you deny other Mahayana sutras. This is a logical impossibility, because if you deny the existence of other sutras, how can you believe in the larger sutra, which is also a Mahayana sutra? So if you do like many Theravadins say, or people who are influenced by Theravada, who say that Mahayana sutras are a later invention and are not actually preached by the Buddha, then how can you believe in the larger sutra? You automatically reject the larger sutra. See?
Mm.
And you, even if you pretend that you accept the larger sutra but deny the Lotus Sutra or other Mahayana sutras, that is a lie, you know. And other people, when they hear you, they might think, oh, so other Mahayana sutras like the Lotus Sutra, for example, is not real, not a real sutra. So why should I believe the larger sutra is a real sutra if the Lotus Sutra isn't? You see? So no, we who have faith in Amida Buddha, we automatically accept the Mahayana Sutras as the
Yes.
true teaching of the Buddha.
And thank you, Sensei. And also the basic teachings of the Mahayana, no, the existence of Pure Lands, the karma.
Yes,
This is very
yes.
important. So you cannot say that you believe in Amida Buddha and say, okay, I like faith in Amida Buddha, but I don't like this teaching about karma. I mean, you cannot pick and choose what you like and dislike. Yes.
Shakyamuni is like accusing Shakyamuni of lying. So if Shakyamuni was lying when he taught about rebirth, for example, or about moral teaching, why should we believe him when he taught about Amida? This is why we at Amida G accept all the Buddhist teachings, even the teachings that we don't like. We accept the teaching on morality, no matter how harsh it is, and no matter that we like it or not. We accept all the teachings of the Buddha, because if we reject a teaching of the Buddha, then we automatically say, make people to think, why should we believe in the larger sutra if Shakyamuni was lying or was not speaking the truth in moral matters, for example, or when he taught us Lotus Sutra? See,
Yes.
Why should we believe in the reality of the larger sutra if we deny the Lotus Sutra? Why this is true and that is not true? No, the whole Mahayana canon is true.
Yes, and this is like a patient trying to behave like a doctor. We have received the medicine, so we cannot change it. So we cannot say, no, I put this in here, or I will take it like this. No, we should consume the medicine as it is prescribed by the doctor. So the Buddhas are like the doctors. They give us the medicine, and the medicine has the instructions, and we should listen to the words of the doctors and not those of sick people.
And we can't say we believe in Amida Buddha, but we deny the existence of other Buddhas in the Mahayana pantheon. It's impossible, you know. Then other people might ask, why Amida is real, but other Buddhas are not real. No, all Buddhas are real. And if you deny the existence of other Buddhas, then you also go against the 17th vow, because Amida says there that all Buddhas praise his name. See, and you can't receive the help of other Buddhas to guide you to faith if you deny the existence of Buddhas in the Mahayana pantheon. See, it's very important.
Yes, indeed, Sensei. And also all Buddhas in the 10 directions are praising Amida Buddha. They are guiding us towards faith. Yes. So they are all working together. So we cannot deny. If you deny one Buddha, you deny all Buddhas. No, yes, in that sense.
And a person of faith automatically accepts the existence of all sutras in the Mahayana canon, and also include the sutras in the Pali canon. They are also true. This is the difference between Mahayana and Theravada. Theravadins say, many Theravadins say that only the Pali canon is true, while we in Mahayana canon is not, is a later invention. While we in Mahayana say Pali canon is true, but that is not the whole canon. The sutras in the Pali canon are not all sutras taught by Shakyamuni. There are also the Mahayana sutras. See?
Yes.
And the esoteric teachings in the tantras and so on, they are also true and real.
Yes. And they also include the Theravadins and the Mahayanis. Yes.
Yes. We actually don't deny Theravada. We just say that Theravada is just one step. It's just one part.
And actually, in the books of Yosho Sensei, in your book, Sensei, there are many quotes from the Theravada. Yes, because they are
from Pali canon.
Yeah, yes, because they are the words of the Buddha, the Pali canon.
Yes. I give many quotes from the Pali canon, which is used by the Theravadins, but also quotes from Tantras, from Mahayana Sutras, because all of them are Buddhist. So when you have faith in Amida Buddha, you have a an innate respect, a natural respect towards all sutras and all Buddhas when you have faith in Amida Buddha. This is one of the effects of faith. Yes.
Yes, I love watching documentaries about these great masters of the, even though I cannot practice their ways, no. But yes, it's good to have admiration for all the Dharma, no, and then the masters, the true masters, no. Okay, so I don't know if maybe Yoshin or Hosan have something else to say. I will go then to go to the summary of the Primal Vow and then end our discussion of the Primal Vow.
When you go to the summary of the Primal, please read all the summary of the Primal Vow.
Understood.
You don't need to explain, just read it.
Yes, because it's already summarized. So summary of the Primal Vow. So this summary is to be found in page 95 of the Meaning of Faith and Nembutsu. This is also in the commentary on the larger sutra as well. Let me connect my PC. Yeah. Excellent. So the summary of the Primal Vow, page 95. Basically, what Amida Buddha promised is this. If you sincerely and exclusively entrust yourself to me, say my name in a relaxed manner without being obsessed with numbers and special states of mind, and if you wish to be born in my land, then you will go there after death. If this will not happen, then it means I do not deserve to be called a Buddha, but you should not worry, because a Buddha always keeps his promises. However, the fact that I save you so easily does not mean that I agree with your evil deeds. So please try your best not to do the 5 gravest offenses. Don't worry, I will save you anyway, no matter what you do, but please try your best to avoid them. Also, please notice that I really cannot save you if you slander the right Dharma. That is, if you deny my existence and the existence of my Pure Land. If you do that, you are not actually entrusting yourself to me and do not wish to be born in my realm. And the saying of my name is false. Nobody can go to a place which he thinks it doesn't exist and cannot be saved by someone whom he considers being an imaginary person. It's logical, isn't it? So please entrust yourself to me as a real, existing Buddha who manifested a Pure Land especially for you. Wish to be born there after death and say my name. I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for you. Please come as you are. Okay? Okay? So this is the summary of all the Primal Vow. This is very important. I think it's very clear, no? And with this, it ends our discussion of the Primal Vow. Or maybe you have some comments, Joshua Sensei or Hosan or Joshi, after this
Joshi
explanation.
or Hosan, if you want to say something.
No, I think it was excellently done, and especially the summary, it just so clarifies everything there is to know about the Primal Vow. And it's important. This is the most important teaching because Jodo Shinshu, we are the school of the Primal Vow. And that takes precedence over any other teaching because as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, we live within that framework of entrusting ourselves to Amida Buddha. And, you know, any Jodo Shinshu person who denies the existence of Amida denies the Primal Vow, and they're not truly a Jodo Shinshu Buddhist. And that's all there is to it. That's my opinion on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think what Koshu said, I think it was a beautiful, full explanation of everything. The summary was very nice and nice to listen to. I think your voice, Koshu, is very nice to hear.
Thank you.
Please continue to be the narrator.
Yes. I narrated some of the books of Joshua Sensei in Spanish, and also Jishin, our friend from Argentina, lives in Uruguay with Daigan. She also did one book as well.
Yes. You guys in Latin America do a lot of good Dharma work for the benefit of beings there. Yes. We have also many articles on Amidaji website in the section divergences from the true Jodo Shinshu teaching, where you can read many articles on various modern heresies. related with Amida Buddha, the Pure Land, on Nembutsu, and so on. Yes, you can go there. So please study the links that will be placed in the description of all the videos, including this video on the Primal Vow. I
Yes.
will edit this last part and put it together with the other two parts, and we'll make something like 3-hour video discussion on the Primal Vow, which
Yes.
I hope it will be very useful. Kosho already passed all the examinations in the 71 topics with me in private. So we are now giving this, he's now giving this presentation only for the public, for the benefit of others, so that others can see how we do things at Amida G, how well prepared we are in doctrinal matters.
Maybe
Okay.
maybe some people in the future who want to be lay teachers, monks or nuns, maybe they can find this useful and to read the books and all of that. So, and since I had the opportunity to translate all of the Joshua Sensei books in Spanish, I had to read the books many times all over again. So I have this, let's call it a strategic advantage in that sense. So I think this is useful and for others in the future to maybe be benefited and study along with the videos. Mm-hmm.